It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Mike Elgin joins Jeff Jarvis and Pruitt. We'll talk about the United States Department of Justice. They're about to go after Google with an antitrust action. What can we expect? It's the end of the line for the Pixelbook, and then we rehearse some of the IG Nobel Prize winners for 2020. It's all coming up next on Twig. This Week in Google comes to you from Twit's LastPass Studios. Securing every access point in your company, that doesn't have to be a challenge. LastPass unifies access and authentication to make securing your employees simple and secure, even when they're working remotely. Check out lastpass.com/twit to learn more.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 578, recorded Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020. Find the cat. This episode of This Week in Google is brought to you by Twilio. Strengthen your customer relationships by uniting communications across your entire business. Get everything you need to build and deliver a new customer experience with Twilio. Go to twilio.com to learn more. And by Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage. Thinking about moving your data storage to the cloud? Wasabi is enterprise-class cloud storage at 1/5 the price of Amazon S3 and faster than the competition, with no fees for egress or API requests and no complex storage tiers. Start a free trial at wasabi.com. Enter the code TWIT. It's time for Twig, This Week at Google. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all for another exciting edition of This Week in Google. Aunt Pruitt is joining us, host of Hands on Wellness, Hands on Photography. Good to see you, Anthony.
Thank you kindly, sir.
Yes,
Good
sir.
to see you.
Yes. Also joining us is Jeff Jarvis, the Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Blogger at buzzmachine.com. Got off work a little early today. Thank you. Appreciate it. Got off the Zoom.
This is work too, but this is pleasure.
This is work? Yeah, it was it's so funny.
It's an obligation, but it's pleasure.
I was listening to old WNEW Airchecks with a chat room earlier, and it was one of the hosts' last shows, and that was mostly his monologue was how much work doing radio was. This is a job. Okay, fine. If that's how you feel, goodbye.
And you just lost it.
Yeah. Stacy is not
out.
here today. She has another engagement. I can't remember what it was, but she told us last week she was going to be busy. But that's great because it gave us a chance to say hello to Mike Elgin.
Long lost Mike Elgin.
Long lost
Yes.
Mike Elgin.
Still lost.
Yeah, he's up in Washington State. So Mike's moving to Washington State. He wants to live among the firs and the pines.
Yes, that's right. That's right. We bought a piece of property, 17 acres up here, and it's just a magnificent forest. I mean, I actually hesitate to post the pictures because people are in lockdown.
Yeah, don't make us
just
jealous.
But if you've seen Bambi or any number of other audiovisual entertainments, you might be familiar with this scenario.
But aren't you nervous about living amongst the trees now that they're all burning down?
Well, it rains here, so that's the thing.
Oh.
So you may not believe this, but
difference.
actually drops of water come from the sky occasionally.
No.
And I've read about it on the internet, but it's true, Leo.
Wow. It rains a lot
Mike, where
there.
were you when your world travels? Where were you when COVID hit bad?
Was in Mexico City, and we were actually contemplating, because we didn't really have a home base at all, and we were thinking, well, maybe we should have a home base. Maybe our home base should be in Mexico City. And we were essentially living there, and it all went crazy in California. There was sudden lockdowns. People were in masks. There's social distancing. People were freaking out. And there was like 2 or 3 weeks where we were in Mexico City where that hadn't really happened yet. You'd find the occasional canister of hand sanitizer here and there, but mostly nobody was social distancing. People are out and about doing their thing. And we flew back to California, and it was like major culture shock. But yeah, we were in Mexico City, and we were thinking maybe this would be a good place to wait out the pandemic. And then I noticed that hospitals in Mexico City already have 6-hour waits. This is before the pandemic. So I thought, I really don't think I want to be here if I do happen to catch this thing. So
that would have been
California.
That would have been back in March, right? Something like that.
February, March, something like that. I don't recall exactly, but it was.
It's hard to believe it was only 12 years ago that this all began. Last March.
And since then, every day has been Wednesday.
Yeah.
So it's really.
Yeah. Yeah. What it was? So it was March 17th for us, March 16th for us, and so that's what now 6 months ago.
March 12 for me.
Yeah. Yep. 6 months ago. Wow.
Pretty crazy.
So we've been hearing drum beats, and apparently today or in the next day or so, hasn't happened yet. The Justice Department is expected to brief state attorneys general on the Google antitrust lawsuit. We're days away from this. Remember, this was the lawsuit that staff attorneys at the DOJ did not want to file. They said, we need more time to work on it, but that the White House and AG Barr pushed them into doing. The two people familiar with the matter confirmed, this is from the Washington Post, confirmed the Justice Department's early plans, but they cautioned it could change. As with anything in Washington these days, it could change, and that a lawsuit may come later than anticipated. I really don't know what that means. It's expected that it would be an antitrust suit from the DOJ, and it would focus on search.
Yep, that's been the word. I mean, you just can't tell now what's political and what's not.
It's really
right? The DOJ just filed is going to go after Section 230.
Yeah.
The DOJ went after Melania's former best friend for the book she was going to write, or she wrote. You can't tell what's what. That's the problem.
And now you work in an anarchist city. So
I'm proud to.
It's just crazy. It's gotten so the fog of war, or is it the fog of Trump, makes it so hard. There's no footing. We spent a lot of time talking about the TikTok story, and it's almost like I don't even want to tell you what the latest is, because by the time it's out of my mouth, it will be changed. It'll be different.
And it makes no sense anyway.
And it's hard to make any sense
from all of the other issues going on with our government.
Which are much bigger issues, yes.
Well, I think that's probably the point of it.
Today's a really hard day. We're doing this on Wednesday. And
go ahead. What's hard about Wednesday?
Well, just between Breonna Taylor and Justice Ginsburg's memorial at the Supreme Court, it's a very somber, difficult day.
Yeah.
The Kentucky AG announced an indictment of one of the officers
for nothing to do with Breonna Taylor, only for endangering the neighbors. The neighbors, but not for her death. Yes.
But it was so dangerous for the neighbors. It's very strange.
But fortunately, there is still a federal investigation in process, so there is hope that there will be justice for Breonna Taylor.
Yeah. Okay. It's funny because according to the information, one of the things Google did, which I think a lot of us thought, oh, this is really good, which is to make it harder to spy on people with the Google browser, actually may stimulate increased antitrust scrutiny. Google said in January it was going to follow Apple's lead in increasing privacy protections by blocking most online advertising trackers. Publishers of news and entertainment websites whose business relies on the trackers hit back, according to the information. And so they went to the Justice Department and they said, hey, Google's blocking ad trackers. Can't you do something about this? So this might also be involved, oddly enough.
But it is a case of regulatory capture. That is to say, when Google and Facebook welcome regulation, it's because they can afford it and others can't. Right. So when Google says, "Oh, cookies bad," okay, we'll go along with that. Cookies bad because we got all the data we need.
Right.
And we're gonna end up. The regulators will help them hurt every competitor out there. And I'm not saying that's their motive, but that's the result.
Isn't that fascinating? I think a lot of users think that what Apple's done it now with Safari 14 and what Google's planning to do is great. And many of us, I do, run anti-tracking either anti-tracking browsers or anti-tracking plugins on our browsers to prevent that kind of tracking.
Because you're paranoid and in the middle of a moral panic, but it's okay, Leo. It's okay.
So you would never use anti-tracking technology?
No, it's not worth my trouble.
It's no trouble.
It's no trouble.
What are they going to do?
They make it so easy.
It's still not worth my trouble.
I don't. You're right. I mean, I have the same argument sometimes where I say, well, but tell me the harms, because a lot of the harms are imaginary harms or, kind of hypothetical harms. What are you worried about? And a lot of times, Dvorak would always say, well, they could sell that information about you visiting Dunkin' Donuts to your insurer and they won't give you insurance. But the logical response to that is, well, actually, the way it works, insurers ask you before they give you insurance, they ask you all that stuff, and then if you lie to them, they welcome that as a great way to deny you coverage
deny or increase your premiums.
Yeah. So,
but at the same time, you take that insurance scenario, you have someone like me that gets asked about their weight and you're considered overweight.
Right, because you're so buff.
Stop tracking my stuff.
Yeah. And then you could also, obviously, advertising. I agree with you, Jeff. I don't mind targeted advertising. I prefer it to non-targeted advertising. Mm-hmm. So that's not what I'm worried about so much.
Well, speaking of antitrust, I think the biggest harm, if anything, is the fact that the major trackers, by which I mean Facebook, Google, and Amazon, it's really kind of makes the powerful more powerful. They use their the login system and other systems to really have an advantage over smaller companies. That's very hard. If you want to go up against Facebook, for example, by doing contextual advertising, good luck, because if you don't have Instagram and all this other kind of services, the login system that they have, the use of WhatsApp, and et cetera, you'll never get anywhere close to Facebook in terms of being able to offer up targeted advertising. Especially, I don't know how they do it or why, but the targeted advertising on Instagram is amazing. I mean, it's really amazing.
Really good.
You're almost you think they're reading your mind or something, and that's an advantage that helps them financially. It helps their market share, et cetera. And we'll see how damaging that is to free enterprise and competition later on. But again, I don't think anybody's really looking at it from that point of view. It's more of a sort of a paranoia system. I mean, I was shocked today, opening up all the articles from the rundown, and one of them was CNN article. If you ever want to be entertained, just launch any sort of CNN.com page and just watch trackers. All the stuff. It's unbelievable. It's a couple hundred things load when you go to a CNN page. It's really amazing.
But
here's where I think we are. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I'll let you talk because I don't. Because you're doing a good job defending the trackers.
Well, I just think it's the mood we're in now. So Stat News, which is the best site out there for medical news right now, had a good story today about a woman who uses AI at MIT around health. But the headline really struck me. When AI is the opposite of sinister. An MIT researcher is held up as a model of how algorithms can benefit humanity. Right? And the story's very good. And I'm not making fun of Stat there. I'm saying that reflects the attitude from all you moral panic people now, where every bit of technology, whether it's cookies or AI or any of that, is presumed now to be a bad thing.
Yeah.
And it's a surprise when it's a good thing.
Right.
And it's an overreaction.
I have selective moral panic, Mr. Jarvis. Let's just put it that way. Because I do believe in AI. AI has some outstanding advantages in our world. It's just not totally refined, as we've discussed many times on this show. But yeah, I'm a little bit more selective about my panic here, because I don't necessarily want the folks at Comcast seeing exactly what I'm doing and what I'm not doing, and then taking that information and selling it to the highest bidder. And I still have to fuss with them about my internet disconnecting every day at 5:00 p.m. Pacific time.
This is a boom time for anti-tracking technologies. Not just Safari and Chrome, Firefox does it. DuckDuckGo has just released a privacy tracker. And I have to say, when I get these trackers, I run them against twit.tv because I know what our website is running in the background. And according to DuckDuckGo, we get a D, which with site privacy protection, they've upgraded to a B+. They block 6 trackers. Most of them are...
Google Analytics? I mean, geez.
Yeah, all of them are analytics. New Relic isn't exactly an analytic. We use New Relic for caching. So all of them are analytics. I don't know if... I mean, look, sites need to use analytics to keep an eye on how many people are using it.
Exactly.
They also said unknown privacy practices, even though we have a link to our privacy policy right here at the bottom of the page, where it's supposed to be, according to everybody. But this is, I think I'm running it. And in fact, when I go, there's another news site called the Markup. They have something called their Blacklight, which is a real-time website privacy inspector. This is not a plugin you use as you browse around. You enter the URL. I just, out of curiosity, entered CNN's, and it has 34 ad trackers. They say that's more than the average of 7 we found on popular sites. 50 third-party cookies, which is more than the average of 3.
The average is 3. Wow.
Yeah, this is the one I really bothers me, and I use Firefox. Facebook, I don't have a Facebook account, but no matter that you don't have an account, Facebook, as we believe, creates shadow dossiers of people, even who aren't Facebook users. And in this case, even as a non-Facebook user, if I go to CNN.com, it sends a signal to there's a Facebook pixel.
Because they've got the send on. Yeah,
I'm not talking about the like button, but a Facebook pixel. And the reason it bothers me, I don't want Facebook. I don't have Facebook, and I don't want Facebook to keep track of where I go. Because I'm not even a member. I don't want Facebook, so I actually block Facebook in my Firefox browser.
So, Leo, have you been seeing the new Jill Lepore book, If Then?
Yeah, I haven't read it. What's it about?
Either. I'm going to order it. How Simulmatics Corporation invented the future, and it was in the, I think, was it 60s? That data can predict things, and data will predict things, and we're going to win elections, and we're going to predict elections, we're going to win elections, we're going to change the world, right? And it was it's being called the Cambridge Analytica of the time. And just like Cambridge Analytica is a bunch of hooey. They don't really have all this power that we think they have. Right. And so I think a lot of this is the presumption that what could happen, or my God, they're smarter than we know. And the truth is, there's few conspiracies in this world because the world's just screwed up.
But that is, by the way, one of the non-hypothetical threats this tracking poses is the threat in politics. Some people think that Cambridge Analytica had a large hand in Brexit.
Oh,
you don't think that they were that effective?
Every research scientist I know who knows their stuff just completely laughs at Cambridge Analytica. Said it was a bunch of hooey. It had no real influence. It promised a power it didn't have. That's not to say it couldn't happen.
Well, that's my question is, okay, so they were selling snake oil, but that doesn't mean that somebody else couldn't actually go along and
always have but what I'm saying is, you go back to Simulmatics, we thought the same thing for all those years.
Yeah.
Well, so this gets to, I think, the core of what, as pundits and thought leaders, I think we ought to be focusing on, which is not the tracking itself, but the abuse of tracking. So, for example, we've heard the stories about how police are increasingly going and buying data or getting data from phone companies and so on. If there's a crime in an area, they're like, well, let's see who was here and what they were doing. If that's an abuse, if we decide as a society that we don't like that sort of thing, then we should crack down on that, not the tracking initially. And the other thing is transparency. So what is Facebook doing with that data that they're collecting on CNN? What are people doing? And in the case of Cambridge Analytica, one of the transgressions of their system was trickery. They said, hey, fill out this personality quiz, find out who you are. And they were actually gathering data from political organizations. So they were compared to the Obama administration, who did at that time unprecedentedly aggressive data collection and so on. But the Obama campaign said, hey, we're the Obama campaign. We'd like to get you to participate in this thing. They were transparent about it. Cambridge Analytica were sneaky and pulling a fast one on people. And that was the bigger problem, not the fact that they were just collecting all this data. The problem is transparency and abuse of the tracking. that we ought to focus on.
Yeah, it doesn't really let them off the hook that they weren't any good at it.
Yeah.
Right? They tried and failed, but doesn't mean somebody else won't. And the fact that Simulmatics couldn't do it in the 60s doesn't mean it can't be done in the 2020s, because we have a lot better tools and a hell of a lot more data.
But here's the question, Leo. Is it's fine as Ant inspired this riff here, right? Because he's saying I'm selectively moral panicked, which is fine, which is the right way to be. But then what you need is decent data about how moral panicked you should be. I just reread this really good book by Axel Bruns called Are Filter Bubbles Real?
Yes.
And I'm going to give you a spoiler. The answer is no.
Right.
Tons of research in this.
I saw your
really,
tweet
really
on this. Yeah.
And so we have this fear brought on by Cass Sunstein and Eli Pariser about echo chambers and filter bubbles, and then the research doesn't bear it out. And it's a fear about us, because the fear here was people are so stupid. All they want to hear is the same things, and they reject all their friends and their family if they don't agree with them politically, and they get.
But don't you think? I understand.
Is that
I
not
understand Eli Pariser's thesis, which is you tend, because of Google's algorithms, you will get more and more of the stuff that you look for.
But that alone is not true.
And that will okay, wait a minute. Let me just explain what we're talking about. I'm setting the groundwork, and then I'm going to ask you a question. So that's Eli's premise is, and then you get inside a filter bubble, and then you just get reinforced in your existing beliefs. You're saying Axel Brun came up with research that said, in fact, that's not. In fact, I think we all understand that the internet, due to serendipity, plus poor tracking, plus poor recommendation engines, plus the failure of companies like Google and Simulmatics, does in fact give you a broad variety of inputs from other sources. But don't you think, just on the face of it, Jeff, that people tend to look for and absorb information that agrees, confirmation bias. They look for information that agrees with what they already think. Even if they're seeing articles that disagree, they don't even see them. And even if the filter bubble's not real, I do feel like people are always looking for confirmation of what they believe, not for the thing that disproves what they believe. Is that not true, Jeff?
But the argument here is they don't even see those things.
Yes, I understand. Right? Yes.
And they do see those things.
Yes.
They do. And the other argument was that they act on this in certain ways, that they reject friendships, they reject family. Well, some of us have really bad family members, so we have, but in general, no, we don't do that. And,
I don't know. I think people on Facebook will unfriend people with different beliefs, especially nowadays. We're so polarized, with different beliefs from them, and really only see the people who agree with them.
The problem is, this is what he says. In fact, I think I have the quote mark because I was putting it in the book. The empirical research drawing on surveys and small-scale observations and on advanced and innovative digital methods and big social data demonstrates clearly that echo chambers and filter bubbles not only do not exist outside the very fringes of mainstream society, where they do exist, but that the incessant and continuing focus of media coverage, media scholarship, and political debate, and Ant's moral panics, on these ill-defined ideas overemphasizes the role of platforms and their algorithms in current political crises, here's the point, and obscures a far more critical challenge, the return of naked hyperpartisan populism and political demagoguery. This is where the moral panic stuff comes in. We're saying, it's all Facebook's fault. No.
Yeah, that's true.
Facebook is reflecting something going on in our society.
Yes.
We've got to get to that.
I grant you that. So it isn't the problem that Google's only showing you stuff you agree with or Facebook's only showing you the stuff you agree with, but it is a case that we are in a hyper-partisan society, and it's the confirmation bias I was talking about. Even though you might be seeing a broad variety of inputs, you're not listening. You're not seeing it. If you believe in QAnon, everything confirms QAnon.
Well, okay, that's where I go back to. There's also data in here that says the people who got their information offline are worse shape than those who get their information online.
That may be true
they watch Fox News.
Yeah, I believe that.
Right?
Yeah.
But this is where
I would challenge that though.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I would challenge that if you lump The Atlantic along with Fox News into not online, then you get one result. But if you separate, like the offline problem is cable TV news.
Yeah, but Mike, I get all my news from liberal sources: The New Yorker, The Atlantic, The Washington Post. So I don't know how different that is from my relatives who only watch Fox News. Am I not also
But are you aware of those arguments out there? That's the other part of this, is that because we see fighting, that makes us aware of other sides existing.
Yeah, and actually I tune in Fox News, but as much as I can, as much as I can take it. But they're in an alternate universe. What really is, we were talking about this before the show. You were talking about Dana Boyd's talk at South by 3 years ago, where she talks about there's an epistemological crisis. That is, there's what you know and what I know, and they never the twain shall meet.
If I don't like you, I'm not going to like your facts.
Right.
And so when we think people believe this QAnon stuff, no, it's performative. I'm
don't believe it?
Saying this because I think it could be true, or because it might as well be true. And when we have a view where we say, well, but no, the experts say, then in this epistemological war, says Dana, what some people say in their head is the experts are an elite and they're tied in with the other elites, and thus I don't like the elites, so I don't like the experts, so I don't like what they say. So yeah, child rings in pizza parlors, because it might as well be true in their view.
There's also and I don't think
figure that out.
I don't think that there's also perhaps, and maybe this is the larger issue, which is all of the things that we are churning about are really superficial issues that are designed to attract our magpie-like attention, where under the surface there's really general agreement between the left and the right that we should let the people with the money run the place, and that the laws of the land and the way things work should be always designed to encourage those people to make more money. I mean, if you're really a leftist, maybe if you're Noam Chomsky, all of this sound and fury is not important, because it obscures the real facts of the matter, which is a deeply rooted inequality.
Bingo,
yes.
bingo.
And also the sense that, this resentment of elites business comes across on multiple levels. One of the interesting things about QAnon is that those of us who are interested in facts, journalists who are into fact checking and all that stuff, actually getting the facts exactly right, are kind of more likely to dismiss QAnon in its totality. This is going to sound ridiculous, simply because it's completely wrong. However, the idea that this pizza parlor thing and the pedophile ring, the core idea behind that is that elites are getting away with pedophilia because they're elites, because they're connected, because they're this, because they're that. That's exactly what the Jeffrey Epstein story revealed. That, in fact, is happening. There's a pedophile rings that elites are involved with, and they get away with it because they're elite, because they have money, because they have power and connections and all that stuff. So the outrage behind the false story of the pizza parlor is actually justified, because
that's the best I've heard it explained. You know what? That's the best I've heard it explained, Mike. That unfortunately,
people know there's something going on.
Justification I've heard to QAnon yet.
No, people know there's something going on, but they ascribe it to the wrong source.
Exactly.
I read a book. I'm gonna try to keep up with Mr. Jarvis, who reads way too many books. I read a book once.
Does he?
And
that offline media can't be trusted.
I cheat. I listen to him, man. I listen to them.
I actually listened to this one too. Russell Shorto book that you probably read. It's a great book about the history of Manhattan. Loved it.
Great.
And one of the things I learned from this book is there was deep concern among the elites of the time in Manhattan that the poor people in Manhattan would make league with the black people, the former slaves and others in Manhattan, and against the elites. And so their goal was always to divide the two. And the same thing in the South. In the South, the rich plantation owners knew that, they were way outnumbered by the slaves, but if the slaves were to make alliances with the political force with the poor whites, they'd be in deep trouble. So, and I think you even see this going on right now, where what the main thrust of the rhetoric is to keep repressed elites hate the repressed poor at each other's throats, because otherwise we're in trouble. There's only a handful of elites.
It's only a handful. That's why it's called the 1%.
And
right?
if black people and poor white people realized they had common cause against the rich would be in deep trouble. So the best thing they can do is say, hey, white people, watch out for those black people.
Yep.
So I wrote a piece for an Irish newspaper. Oh, sorry, Ant, you go first. I've been talking to you.
No, I was just agreeing, because that's pretty much what I've been.
Is that your experience?
Taught.
Yeah.
That's what I've been taught in my family. That is, when I was growing up, not necessarily taught that in school, but that was pretty similar to the discussion that my family had with me.
I have
you definitely got to keep them away from the Hispanics, because
yeah, as much as you can polarize people. So we focus on the polarizing thing, saying, no. But really what the point of it is if you want to maintain control, you keep these people polarized, because otherwise they could align and we'd be in deep trouble.
That's right.
There's something else happening now, which is, and I wrote about this for an Irish newspaper. I don't know if I've talked about it on the show, but my worldview now is that it's the last stand of the old white man, and I say that as an old white man, where old white men know that they're going to lose the power. And rather than sharing the institutions, they're now destroying them, because they know they're going to lose them.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so that's what we see happening right now. Is it's a scorched earth.
That really makes sense.
Everything, presidency.
Yeah.
But I talked to a journalist from La Nación in Argentina yesterday, and he was doing a story about Trump and institutions. And I said, it's not just Trump, though. That the disruption of the internet has challenged every institution in other ways, right? Look at banking. BuzzFeed had a huge story this week about all the corruption of banking that wasn't tracked, right?
Really fascinating. Yeah.
Right, fascinating. Look at policing.
Yeah.
And now we're finally, as a society, saying this institution doesn't make a lot of sense the way it's set up, and it's dangerous to people. Look at journalism being questioned from all sides. Look at media. Look at the way democracy is being challenged by a certain part of, by the old white men. And so these institutions are under challenge anyway, and the old white men are going in for the kill because they know they're not going to have them in a few
last chance.
Yep.
I'd
rather
if I can't have my gold toilet seat, no one can.
Exactly.
But I wonder why white people are afraid of being a minority. It's not like minorities are treated any worse, right?
Well, it's so funny because
what were you told in your family? Can you say more about that?
Yeah, I think this is interesting.
The talk that some of my family members had was, I believe I've mentioned to you all before, I was brought up to love. We need to love everyone. And there's in the black community, there's a lot of fighting amongst each other that shouldn't be there. And my family would talk to us about, why are we fighting one another? And they would break down the reason we would fight. For example, let's say sneakers or something like that. You remember back in the 90s and 80s when people were getting killed over sneakers?
Yeah.
They brought it to our attention that, you know what? You know who's making money off of those sneakers?
Yeah, the white guys.
It's not any of us that are fighting for them.
Yep.
Right. So it was a lot of discussions like that. It's just, we have all of these different limbs thrown in between us to divide us and fight against each other. And it started from us fighting against each other as black people, but just fighting against our neighbor, whether it was a black or white or what have you. We were all in the same neighborhood for a reason. It's probably because we wasn't rich.
That's right.
Right.
Well,
did I tell you about? Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to make sort of bring this whole conversation back to social networks and so on, and actually do something that I haven't heard before, which is to advocate for filter bubbles. Basically, what's happened over time is that there's a lot of discouragement, a lot of this. People's belief about the world has changed a lot in the last few years because of social media.
Definitely.
You hear people describing Twitter as a hotbed of racism and friction and misogyny and all that kind of stuff. And I always telling people you gotta be aggressive with that block feature. But when you do that, when you want to hear other points of view, but you don't want to hear propaganda. You don't want to hear bots coming at you with Russian propaganda. None of that stuff. What you want is to have a carefully tailored Overton window Okay, I don't want to discuss pizza parlors and pedophile rings. I've been there. My mind is closed on that. It doesn't exist. It didn't. Yeah. That particular, and I don't want any propaganda. I don't want this. I don't want that. And I've been active in doing this on Twitter, especially. I don't follow anybody who's going to be, calling, the libs Marxists or,
right.
Black Lives Matter a Marxist organization. I understand why they say it. I understand I understand all that. I don't want to talk about it anymore because I need to maintain, I need to get my work done. I need to maintain a positive worldview. And I think that at the end of the day, when you do blocking right and you know what you want to talk about, who you want to talk with, you end up with a filter bubble. But that's not what a filter bubble is. A filter bubble is caused by algorithms and so on. So it's like a filter bubble, but it's something you construct. And I advocate that people construct it because one of the most damaging things about social media and how it all works is we think the world's gone crazy. And the only thing that's really happened is we have a lot more information from a lot more people.
We're seeing everybody instead of just we're out of the filter bubble, in fact.
It used to be just Walter
really
Cronkite.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting. But would you say the same thing, Mike, if I am a QAnon follower and I say I don't want to follow anybody that tries to debunk QAnon, that would...
I wouldn't recommend following QAnon or taking that point of view.
But I'm just saying, from their point of view, it's the same thing. Look, I don't want to... I've already decided that QAnon's true. I don't want to hear these doubters.
Well, I think that's fine.
On these streams, that does happen.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't matter really because you can't really convince conspiracy theorists to get off their conspiracy for the most part.
Okay,
99% of the time it can't be done.
That's the really nut of the matter at this point. We've got, let's say, two sides. There's really probably many more, but let's say we've got two sides. Have we decided at this point it's impossible to convince the other side of what we think? And we've given up and it's over. And there's the left part of the aisle and the right part of the aisle and no more crossing over.
No. I think that's the main point of the propagandists, that there are two sides. Okay, the right is not QAnon. The right isn't even Trump and MAGA world. Nobody agrees on everything.
George Will's voting for Joseph Biden. It's like hell has frozen over.
Hundreds of Republicans. He left the party. In fact, he's no longer a Republican because of Trump. But the point is that
I used to think George Will was to the right of Attila the Hun. Now he's my buddy.
Right, that's right. Yeah. But he was always a process guy and the rule of law and all this kind of stuff, and a conservative. And it's refreshing to find people who are intelligent and honest and free of the propaganda of their side. On the other side, no matter which side you're on your political aisle. So, for example, there are lots and lots of very intelligent, thoughtful Republicans who are very conservative, and their voices are just completely drowned out by the Fox News, Breitbart types in the public sphere. But when you can seek them out and bring them into the fold and interact with them on Twitter, it's a beautiful thing.
And maybe 62 members of the United States Senate.
Well, that too.
Well, they're just cowering and they're afraid of mean tweets.
Yeah. They're not afraid of mean tweets. They're afraid of a avid Trump base that will go to the polls November 3rd, and they are literally terrified of them.
Yep.
And maybe they should be. You can point to people like Jeff Flake and say, even Mitt Romney is cowering at this point in his boots.
Yep. Well, no, Mitt Romney's running for president is what Mitt Romney is.
Oh, okay.
Mitt Romney's going to have it both ways. Oh, I voted for impeachment. Look what a good guy I am. Oh, but I put your justice on the court. Look what a good guy I am. No, he's
But this is what
pure politics.
Pisses me off about him and Bloomberg as well. If they really wanted to stop Trump, they should have run. They should have gotten on the ballot and divided the Republican vote.
Bloomberg wouldn't have taken the Republican vote. He would have taken.
Romney would have.
Romney
would have taken. He would have taken the George Will vote. No, I'm very glad he's not there. Very glad.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, is it the case that it's foolish to pursue persuasion with people of differing opinions?
No, it's not foolish.
Not at all.
No,
not at all.
It's not.
It feels like a waste of time. I can't talk to my relatives.
It's a lot tougher nowadays.
It's a lot tougher.
No,
you still do that, though. You do that still? Yeah.
I do, but then I also filter it and say, you know what, these people or groups or whatever, they have the right to their opinions. They have the right to their choice. And I try not to take a lot of things personally, because part of conversations are disagreements, so I just sort of roll with it. And if I can persuade someone, great. If not,
but you're completely wrong, man. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
See, come on, man.
But I think the secret is to identify whether the person is arguing in good faith, and if they are genuinely coming from a place that is not a place of propaganda or whatever.
Right.
And then you have to cherry pick the points. You can't change someone's entire worldview, but I had a very constructive argument with somebody on Twitter recently where we were getting into it on a whole bunch of things, and he happened to say that Biden has done nothing to denounce the looting and so on associated with some of the protests of Black Lives Matter. And, I said, yes, he has. And no, he hasn't. Yes, he has. No, he have. And I was able to just go back and just find news reports in June, July, and so on, where he spoke very forcefully against the violence, in favor of the protests, but against the looting and the violence. And the guy goes, I didn't know that, and so
right.
It was one little piece, just to let people know that their source of information is not necessarily reliable.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the other, what has happened in our society. I say this as a media guy. We're all media people, since what we're doing right now is media. Is that things were controlled in such a way that society lost the ability to hold a conversation and to debate and to argue. And now we suddenly can hear voices we couldn't hear before, and now people can disagree with each other in ways we can hear it. We don't know what to do with it.
Right.
And we think that it's all blowing up. This is what society is. This is what democracy is.
This is the hurly-burly of the intellectual marketplace.
It's the cacophony.
Yeah.
And we're doing it badly. We need better tools. We need better structures. We need better training. We need more education.
We need better training.
Yes.
That's the
we
thing.
need better parents like aunts, his family members who told him wise things like that. And so we're going to have to relearn these skills. The same thing happened, my friends. You're going to hear from me. Watch out. Get your drinks ready. Drink time from Gutenberg. Is that it led to a 30 years war, for God's sakes, right? When new technologies come that allow people to speak who couldn't speak before, the people who could speak before that resent them.
Yeah.
Try to stop them and don't know what to do with them and don't know what to do with the noise that's created. Oh my God, a reformation. Right? But then also good things can happen. I honestly believe that I'm coming to believe more and more that Black Lives Matter is the Reformation of America. It is like the Luther Reformation. It is
really?
It is potentially. Now we could screw this up. I don't want to act like a hashtag. He's going to suddenly do what 400 years of struggle and slavery and death so far haven't accomplished. But I think that there's a moment here where it's Luther's 195 theses in 1517 on the Wittenberg door. That there's a moment here when people can use this technology to say, but you don't like all those other voices, but let me get my voice out here and let me say what I've been seeing going on, and finally I can say it. And we don't want to lose sight of that. That's the thing I keep screaming about, is that when journalists say, oh, Twitter, it's a cesspool, when Leo Laporte says, oh, leave Facebook, it's a cesspool, my fear is you're going to leave behind those voices who were not heard in mass media, who finally can be heard and who finally have something to tell us that we need to hear.
I think they need a blog.
Yeah. Or perhaps a Substack newsletter.
Yeah.
I saw on Twitter today,
plenty of ways to get your word out these days. Or a
there
podcast.
Was a great. Well, we go where the people are, though. You got to go where the people are to say you're a destination.
No one's on
blog.
Twitter.
Certain people are.
Twitter is the ultimate filter bubble. It's 300 million people who are mostly journalists. I don't think real people use Twitter. Maybe they do. Maybe that's changed.
They do.
Do they?
They
now?
do.
I know Black
They do.
Twitter is great. I love Black Twitter.
But my Twitter following that I follow myself, they are real people. It's not just technologists. It's not just photographers. But I follow a ton of people that I love and care about dearly, and they're regular people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
They exist.
It takes work to find them. It takes work to meet them, and it pays off, that work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to agree with Mike's principle, which is, I always said I did this, but I don't think I did it very well, which is follow freely and block even more freely.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm blocking somebody every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Not everybody's worth hearing.
I did not block for a long time. Recently, I've started blocking people again, mostly because I just didn't want the vitriol and the outrage. I was sick of the outrage.
So then you're going to find that it's actually a pleasant place, the internet.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ant.
Okay. Exactly. But I think the thing that the point of view that we have to get to is to understand that we are not going to interact with 99.99999% of humanity ever. And so if we can, we're always going to only interact with a tiny, tiny minority. And we have the opportunity with social media to decide who that minority is.
I like that.
And so, and by crafting a filter bubble, I mean, I think I have thousands of people blocked on Twitter at this point. And it's a beautiful thing. I'm taking a deliberate action to decide which ridiculously tiny minority of humanity I'm going to engage with. And I want them to be representative. Like I really do. But that's my choice. And I want a little bit of that. The only thing that I will not tolerate and don't have time for is people who are dishonest or who are acting in bad faith or have some agenda that I disagree with or whatever. But beyond that, it's a beautiful opportunity. Just forget about the idea that you have to be on a social network that everybody is on, or that you will even ever interact with the vast majority of the people on any social network. We're talking about a tiny, tiny sliver of humanity. And that's all we'll ever have the time to engage with.
Because you and I love to travel. And that's, I would venture, it's certainly for me, and I'm pretty sure it's for you, the main purpose of travel is to broaden the variety of people you get to know and meet and interact with. Mm-hmm. They're shallow interactions, but at least they're interactions.
Well, if you travel,
Google Plus was going to save it all.
Yeah, well,
cool?
Those are the days back when Google Plus was the future.
I would still be on Google Plus if it were around.
I miss it. I miss it so much. That was such a wonderful social network, at least for me. But this thing about travel, I think that with the way we're headed, where people can work remotely, I think they can travel in a way where they really have deep experiences. I mean, this has been my experience, and I feel like the travel that I've done, the depth of the relationships I've had with the range of people that I've interacted with has made me an entirely different person than I was 10 years ago. I mean, I've lived in all kinds of really mind-changing. I've lived in Kenya. I've lived in places that just completely changed my whole world.
Because you stay there. You're not a tourist. You stay there. You live there. You become
total nomadic.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the result of your perception of humanity is that you look at everybody completely differently. Like the way I look at people now, the way compared to how I used to, is just night and day. It's just a completely different world.
Yeah.
So hopefully there'll be a lot more of that. People will be able to go to another country and live there, have neighbors, shop in the same store, and get to know
me and my mask. I'm going to be traveling.
Yep.
If I get a really good mask.
Bane kind of mask.
I need a really good mask. Hey, let's take a break. It's so fun to get together with smart people and learn, and I feel like I do that every week. Yep. No, Ant, you're one of them.
That's Ant. Smartest of us.
Ant Pruitt, twit.tv/hop for hands-on photography, HOW for hands-on wellness. Mike Elgin, great to see you from elgin.com.
Great to see you too.
Mike's List, and of course, getting back on the road soon, we hope. Knock on wood, gastronomad.net. What is the prognosis at this point?
We're going to fire it up again next year. We've got Morocco. We got 2 Provences in the middle of summer.
You feel pretty confident that you're going to be able to do it?
I do. Yes, I do. And I don't think we're waiting for a vaccine. I think we're waiting for a whole bunch of other things. But in any event, our experiences are very socially distant anyway. For example, in Provence, we live in this farmhouse that's outside of this village. I mean, the nearest neighbors are like half mile away.
You know, if we had good, reliable testing, you could just say, hey, you want to go on the trip, you got to test before you go.
We are going to test people before they go. So everybody will know that every other person is negative. And then when we interact with winemakers and stuff, it's just us. We're never interacting with other tourists.
The alcohol.
Yeah, the alcohol, right. Alcohol does kill the virus. So so I think we're safe. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, but we're gonna do a lot of
You are
experiences
pickled.
next year.
You're not just covered. You're in a jar with a bunch of brine being pickled.
Don't judge me.
I'm not judging. I'm in the jar with you, buddy. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm so glad because I think this is a really great way to travel. And I'm thinking maybe that's what my retirement will be, is just getting nomadic, especially if Starlink happens and we can get online wherever we are. You have to bring a pizza box with a dish in it,
Yeah, it's the size of a medium pizza. You were showing like a large.
Oh, a
pizza.
medium.
It's more of a medium.
A medium.
It's a medium pizza. Yeah, but I think that the ideal amount of time to stay in each place for me personally is 3 months.
3 months.
So 3 months. You stay in a place for 3 months, move to another place for 3 months.
So I could do 4 places a year or 3 places a year with 3 months at home. That's good. That sounds like a plan,
isn't it?
Let's do it. I might just hang with you guys.
Yeah, just come with us.
Jeff, you want to come with us? Come on, Jeff.
So this week I've spoken. Tomorrow I speak in Hamburg. I spoke in Chennai. I spoke in Sao Paulo. And I spoke in Munich.
This is the worst kind of travel.
All those frequent flyer miles I've lost.
This is Zoom travel.
Yes.
Worst kind of travel.
It's Zoom hell, man. Yeah. I'm on constant Zoom. But on the other hand, it's not Zoom hell. I zoomed into a class in Chennai, a journalism class, where they were just fantastic students.
Great.
They were just great. And I wasn't going to go to Chennai, so it's fine. It's good. But
you're keeping this kind of quiet, but I think you're getting an award tomorrow in Hamburg.
Well, of sorts, yes.
The Scoop Award.
Look at that.
The Scoop Award.
No, it's not a pooper scooper, people.
You're going to Scoop Camp. That's exciting. So that's tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I'm doing a talk. I have to be up. I have to be on Zoom at 6:45 a.m. But New York time. But
that's nice. And can people can participate virtually?
Yeah, they can come in free.
Nice.
Yeah, if you go to the site, it's in German. Don't worry about it. Just get the digital thing. And
look at that. Look how serious Jeff looks in that picture. Looks like you're castigating somebody with your stick.
Yeah, somebody who has more. It's Germany. They have moral panic. Yes.
You shut up. Leistungsschutzrecht.
Leistungsschutzrecht. How dare you?
Yeah. Baden, haben. By the way, a number of Germans sent me notes saying, that's not a real German word at all. We never say that. Title. That's something the British say to pretend they're speaking German.
So you're an American pretending to be a Brit pretending to speak German.
It's perfect.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's pretty much what it was.
It's right for me. That's all I can say. Our show today brought to you by Twilio. Love the Twilio. I've been a Twilio subscriber for many, many years. I got a Twilio phone number. I love to play with the Twilio API to try different stuff. Twilio is where you go to build things that communicate. The world is changing fast. You want to build new ways to help customers in a kind of socially distanced, appropriate way. And that's what Twilio has always done. Engage customers on any channel, anywhere. I mean, when I say channel, I mean text messaging, emails, phone calls, newsletters, video. One platform does it all. And man, do they do it at scale. Twilio powers 795 billion plus interactions across channels with 5 nines of uptime, 99.99% uptime, over 3 billion phone numbers available across more than 100 countries. That's at scale. And I love Twilio, but I'm not alone. Many, many companies use Twilio. When you do that two-factor authentication and logging into your Netflix account, that's Twilio. Shopify uses Twilio to run their entire global contact center. More than 1 million customers. That's Twilio Flex. Blue Apron uses Twilio. You get a Blue Apron newsletter? That's being sent with Twilio SendGrid. And Lyft and Uber. You ever get a text message from Lyft and Uber? Yep, it's Twilio. You guessed it. Product and operations teams use Twilio to create new ways to communicate with their users inside applications, ranging from account notifications with text messaging to chat bots to securing online accounts with two-factor authentication. You use Authy? I use Authy. It's the two-factor authentication program we recommend. That's Twilio at work. In fact, I love Authy. You can always tell if somebody's a Twilio customer because Authy works better. They go right to the top of the list. Twilio's really kind of amazing. Customer service teams, of course, use Twilio Flex to build global contact and support centers. Flex is a programmable contact center application that you control. Look, you don't need to be a specialized telecom network engineer to use Twilio. Leo Laporte uses it. That should tell you something. It lets developers control the global communications network with a few lines of code. And if your developers are already building web applications, they already have the skills they need to build apps that text, call, chat, and video conference. There's just no easier platform for building. Strengthen your customer relationships by uniting communications across your entire business. It's easy. Just go to Twilio.com. Set up an account. Play with it. It's fun. TWILIO.com. It's time to build with Twilio. Twilio.com. Thank you, Twilio, for supporting our show. We really appreciate it. And thank you for supporting us by checking out Twilio. Twilio. Okay, Kevin Toffel is ringing down the crepe. We mentioned this last week as a supposition, but the Pixelbook is now no longer in stock at the Google store. It really does look like the end of the line for the Pixelbook. You can't even buy it if you wanted to. Google told Engadget it's pointing buyers to the Pixelbook Go, which is kind of their, silly school book version of it. They say it's a similar high performance, but it isn't. Third-party inventory not gone. Honestly, people like Kevin and others have pointed out that the Acer Spin, for instance, which is, $500 or $600, is as good as a Pixelbook. There's really good choices out there. But
so here's the question. My battery is about zonked.
Yeah.
My keyboard has problems.
Yeah.
I've been banging out this thing for 3 years. I'm going to have to do it.
Yeah.
I was going to get the Samsung, but the battery sucks on that. But I'm looking, Kevin, the Go was Kevin's Chromebook of the year for 2019.
Yeah, I mean, the Go's not bad. I don't know if I would go with the Go.
The Spin 713. Which one?
I would go with the Spin.
I don't really want a fan.
I don't remember if it has a fan, but you can find out next Monday on Hands on Tech, where Mr. Jason Howell is going to be reviewing the Acer Spin.
Look at you. Look at you,
plug.
Anthony.
Well done, plug, sir.
It does have a fan because it has an Intel chip in it, but it's kind of concomitant with these hot Intel i5s that you're going to have a fan. Right. It also has 8 gigs of memory. It has NVMe storage, which is really fast. 128 gigs. Not that storage is all important, but for things like power washing, that'll be a lot faster. Booting up should be faster. It's got a beautiful screen that's very high res, 2256 by 1504.
That's boring.
Boring. Doesn't have little nubbies on its butt. Is that what you want?
I'm just unhappy. I lived La Vida Google for so long, and they've abandoned me. Some people got upset about a reader. I got upset.
It is odd, and honestly, I don't feel like the Go is going to last that much longer either.
There's no more not pink.
Yeah, yeah. That's a color, by the way. Mm-hmm. People think that
it's not a description of my face.
Saying something weird. If it's one of the colors that the Chromebook comes in. Well, we have a Google event coming up on the 30th. Who knows? A week from today. In fact, right before the show, we're going to start Windows Weekly an hour earlier, I think. Then we're going to go to the Google event and come right out of the Google event. We know it's a Pixel 5 event. Actually, I don't think there's any surprises, come to think of it.
Nope.
I think Google's already said everything they're going to announce, right? Or could they have one more thing at the end? Oh, and for those of you who missed the Pixelbook, for Jeff Jarvis, we've decided to sell one more Pixelbook. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Why is that? Because there's no question that Chromebooks sell well, right?
Kevin's argument is that they proved the point. Chromebooks at first were all cheap, tinny, plasticky.
Yeah, they wanted
little things.
They wanted. That's right.
They wanted higher, and they proved it. And they proved it at a very high price. But as you say, the 713, which can you give me a spoiler here, Ant?
$629.
Yeah. Right, and so it's a good machine, and but it's a premium compared to what was.
Now, are you going to buy a Pixel 5? Because that's going to come out next week.
My wife will kill me. No. Listen, I'm not going anywhere. So, yes, I use my phone. Of course, I use my phone, but I'm home.
Right. This is,
Not
by
a
the way,
phone.
the difference between your wife and my wife. I was saying last night, I said, I don't want to buy a new iPhone. I don't want to buy a new Pixel. I'm so done. I just want to keep using this one. She said, I will kill you if you don't buy the new phone. So that's quite a big difference.
What was that show where you
contrast.
traded spouses?
Yeah. Wouldn't you like to be married to Lisa?
Just for one day. Just one day. I get
you're the tech
phone,
guy.
and I come back.
This is your job. Of course you're buying the new stuff. I have to say, I did, in a fit of economy, trade in the Microsoft Duo. I've never sent anything back. I sent it back. And
wow.
Yeah, I know. But don't get your hopes up, because I applied the $1,500 at plus a $500 trade-in of my old Note 10 to get the Galaxy Z Fold 2. Because I want to see...
Which is looking like to be a better device, though.
Well, that's what I want to see. And you know what? I will, without hesitation, return it if it's not, right?
Right.
Because I think I'm going to get the Pixel 5. I think I have to. I don't,
Sounds like you're not into gimmicks. You just want something that's going to work and get the jobs done. Right?
I don't want to buy a new phone every year, or let alone 5 new phones every year. I'm so
Quite
over
frankly,
that.
Mr. Laporte, I don't want to
lot
buy
of
a
work.
phone for a long time, especially at the $1,000 price
I know.
tag.
I just want to stay with it. Yeah. But it is kind
And
of...
I forget, I ask you this all the time, but I keep on forgetting which one. You have the 4?
The 4XL.
4XL, right. Okay.
That's what I got too, and I got the orange back. I like it. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful
The
phone.
missus has the 4A.
Good
and
choice.
Holding that 4A was a little weird to me because it's smaller, but there's nothing wrong with that phone.
Right.
And she wanted to complain about the camera one day, and I looked at it and I said, maybe if you just clean the lens off or something, because this camera is totally fine.
Oh, it's probably just schmutz on the lens.
Right. And it's been fine ever since. That's a quality device for that price point. And just seeing that right there, it really just tells me, hold on to this 4 as long as I can, because they're charging too much for these phones. And if
I've
we
got the
continue
3A
to buy these phones, they're going to keep charging those prices.
Well,
You're right.
now there is some rumor going around that maybe the Pixel 5 will not be the $1,000 phone. There have been price leaks from Europe and so forth. So I don't know. There's a lot of leaks. As always, what happens next Wednesday probably won't be much of a surprise. From WinFuture and 9 to 5 Google, 6-inch, 90 hertz display, 432 pixels per inch. That's a lot. That's plenty.
Yep.
Gorilla Glass 6. That's one step up from the Pixel 4.
Still breakable.
Yeah, still breakable. And there's no glass. It's not, I'm afraid. The chin is still there, but it sounds like it's pretty narrow, the bottom bezel. They say this in the leak, again, Google hasn't said, is 100% recycled aluminum, IP68 water and dust resistant. Now, the thing that perked my ears up is big battery, 4,080 milliamp hour battery, wireless charging, reverse charging as well. That would mean really nice battery life. A wide angle 16 megapixel f2.2, 1 micron pixels, which is, as Ant will tell you, is a good thing. The bigger the pixel size, the
bigger,
the better the low light performance. Same 12.2 megapixel main camera, but it now, because of the extra processor, will support 40K 60 frames and 240 frames at 1080p.
That's nice.
You just got the new GoPro Hero Black 9. Have you been playing with its 4K and 5K video?
I played with some of the 5K yesterday, and so far the only weird thing about it is it allows you to shoot in a flat profile. They don't necessarily call it log,
like
but they call
S-Log.
it flat profile.
Yeah.
And it's really not flat. It's still pretty vibrant. So
I don't really
that's the only
expect
quirky thing.
great video from a GoPro. Just,
I don't know now.
Really?
GoPro is really good because of their stabilization. It's better than what you would think, considering the size of that camera and the size of their sensors.
You're going to review that next week on Hands on Tech?
It won't be next week, but it'll be soon.
You got to take some time to really put it through its paces.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, do you need a GoPro if you're getting 60 FPS on 4K and 240 FPS on 1080p on this phone? The front-facing camera is the same, but it's got a wider field of view, 90 degrees instead of 83. Snapdragon 765G, 8 gigs of RAM, a lot of memory, 128 gigs of storage. There will be 5G, but it will not be millimeter wave, according to WinFuture. This is, again, a leak. It'll just be the sub-6 frequencies that T-Mobile offers. But maybe that's just the European version, because this is a European magazine.
Right. Could be different in the States.
And Micah Sargent will be very happy to hear, not that he's going to buy one, there'll be a green version of the phone. I had the orange last year. Green.
He probably would, because it's green, right?
He likes the green. He'll buy it just because it's green. Just because it's green.
Well, here's a question, though. We talked about the demise of the Pixelbook. What's Google up to with phones? I mean, we all remember the Nexus phone, which they got rid of in favor of the Motorola phones, which they got rid of in favor of the Pixel phones. And now the Pixel phone is kind of, at first the Pixel phone made a lot of sense because they're putting some proprietary AI into it. They were doing some interesting things with the camera. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And now it feels like the 5 is going to be just, over the top speeds and feeds, which there's no reason for Google to do that. Samsung can do that. Lots of companies can build powerful phones. So why is Google? So the first question is, why is Google still making phones? And the second question is, will they continue doing this? Is this the last Pixel phone? And should it be?
Wow, that's interesting.
I thought the 4 would have been the last one myself.
Jesus.
I know Jeff Jarvis wants the Pixel phone, but why? As a company, why is a company like Google? I mean, their main business model seems to be to disappoint users. I mean, that seems to be mainly what they are in business to do. Yeah, it's tragic. But still, we have to ask, why are they doing it, and will they stop?
I honestly thought the 4 would have been the last iteration because of the way the sales went with it. The 3A got a lot of promise and great hype because it worked out to be a great phone, but it seems like it really did just fell off the cliff with the 4. I haven't seen the numbers on the 4A, but I still just thought, Google is just going to sign off and just continue to do what they do with big data and not necessarily worry about hardware.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, what's in it for Google to go through all the trouble to be a phone maker?
To make me happy. That's what, Mike.
It's just
to make
for
me
Jeff.
happy. Because I want my Vita Google devices. That's why.
Vita Google.
That's enough.
You're not going to be happy, Jeff. You're not going to be happy.
I think it's not about hardware anymore. I think Google really wants a pure Android experience available somewhere so that you can compare it.
I'm for that.
Yeah, because it's so that you compare it to the crap that Samsung and others put on the phone. But again, that's another case where maybe it's not as necessary because Oxygen OS is pretty pure. Motorola's Edge has pure Google on it. The days of these weird adaptations of Android are even the Duo was pretty pure Android. It had a few features, but I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know,
Mike. You're just bitter. You lost your Google Plus.
Oh, yeah.
So you want me to lose my gadgets. That's what it is. I know.
Believe me, Jess, I'm also bitter because I'm losing the Pixelbook too. I have a Pixelbook and love it. And I did have the Pixel 3, and I loved that. But I just figure I want to lower expectations because when has Google ever launched a hardware platform?
Disappointed people.
And stuck with it.
Yeah.
Like never.
No, you're still a little frosted.
All right.
A little. You're still a little hurt over Google Plus, I can tell.
Yes.
Yes.
It's true.
Yes.
As much as I love Google Plus, Mr. Elgin, I had to step away from it pretty early, and I remember doing it quite vividly because I was so sick of the troll patrols, troll controls inside of it. It was really bad trying to manage my happiness in the feed, you know, because it was just a bad experience. I loved the people that were there, but it was just more stress trying to keep that environment clean for me. And you reported and nothing would ever happen. And then I was part of one of those elite groups, whatever it was called. I can't remember what it was. And you go into that group and you fuss and tell them, hey, you're asking for our feedback. Here's the feedback, and nothing is happening. And I just had to let it go.
Google Plus was great for 4 years, and then they lost the plot completely, and it just kept getting worse and worse after that. Trolls were coming in, and you pointed out that they wouldn't stop the trolls. They would also flag half of the good comments as problematic. So it really sucked after, from 2011 to about 2014, something like that, 15. It was. Am I getting that right? Yeah. The first 3 or 4 years
leadership there too.
That's what
gentleman.
happened.
What was his
Vic
name?
left.
Vic
Kundotra.
Kundotra, that's it.
Yeah. So I want to get our crack production team to work on a special TikTok.
You're producing crack now?
Yes, they're cracked. They're cracked. I want them to work on a TikTok bumper. Until we have one, I'm just going to use this.
Oh, man.
These are
like
the days.
sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
It's now 1:00 p.m.
Take it down for that.
On a summer day at Aunt Pruitt's great aunt's house.
Monday.
She's telling us to
Tuesday.
go outside and play because the stories are coming.
Well, if it's Wednesday, it must be another lawsuit. So you may remember, if we're picking up the plot, that WeChat and TikTok both were supposed to be turned off on Saturday. WeChat sued and got a restraining order. TikTok went the Oracle route. They got a friend of the president to invest, not a lot. Now TikTok is asking for an injunction from the court on a ban that would require Apple and Google to remove TikTok, and I presume WeChat as well, September 27th. So that's 4 days from now.
Right in the corner.
Saying that this violates the First Amendment rights of the people on TikTok. It shuts down a platform.
Which is all I've been screaming all along, and on this show, this is a First Amendment issue. This is the press of the people.
Yeah.
And I'm so delighted that's how the court ruled on the WeChat ban.
Yeah.
This was First Amendment for those folks.
Yeah. So, and it's also hard to come up with, people. I get a lot of hate mail on this one because I'm trying to defend TikTok and so forth. They say you just love China, you're just a commie, but actually, it's not. That's not the case. What it really is I think we clearly have a threat from China. It's exercising its economic soft power all over the world. I don't think they're going to invade the U.S. It's not a military threat. It might be a cyber threat. But it's a very complicated strategic relationship, and it requires diplomacy and some subtlety, and it requires a lot of work because, on the other hand, we have a lot of stuff made in China. It's a giant market our companies would like to be in. Apple, it's critical to Apple's finances that they sell phones in China and on and on and on. So it's complicated. And I think it needs a strategic, complicated vision, long-term vision to address it, diplomatic and otherwise. And to say, oh, well, the problem is these apps. And if we just ban the apps, everything is going to be fine, is more theater to distract you from what is actually a much more serious problem. So I'm not saying, oh, China's a great country and we got to let them do anything they want by any means. But I do think that it's a much more subtle problem, and banning an app is a trivial response to it and has unintended consequences for its users.
In your defense, I have seen you on several shows here on the network, including this one here. Whenever you talk about TikTok, it's never much of anything about China. What you seem to enjoy is just the way you're getting good content that suits you, and their AI is just getting it right. Every time you pull it up, you get stuck in a time suck, and you're enjoying the content there, regardless if it's TikTok or whatever. You just like what it's giving you, and I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah. So we'll just see.
I just can't. I'm just shocked, Leo. I'm shocked that you think Trump isn't bringing subtlety and a long-term view and a technical sophistication to this argument.
Well, he's probably not the right man for the job, but we still have a semi-intact State Department, and I'm sure that there are things. Maybe not. Okay.
The other weird part about this, too, is there's the $5 billion. Now, are they really paying $5 billion to the Treasury? Under what structure? Or is that merely the taxes they think they're going to pay, A, B?
Well, and who pays it? Who pays it? Does Oracle pay it? Who pays it?
That's unclear. It's all unclear. But then now we have a story.
TikTok, by the way, TikTok's latest plan is to do an IPO and pay $5 billion to the Treasury out of the IPO, which wouldn't be for a year or two.
But why does the Treasury get a penny out of this? It makes no sense. But here's the thing.
We have to pay for the re-education camps.
It's for the re-education.
Well, it is re-education. That's the problem. You have both Oracle, not surprising because run by a fan of Trump's, but you also have Walmart now saying we're okay with money going into Trump's white supremacist anti-1619 project education plan.
This is the education plan that the $5 billion
is and Walmart is saying,
of course they are. No, but of course they are.
Well, no, this needs a reaction.
Well, I agree. But Oracle and Walmart don't want to offend the president because they're hoping
how
there's a pot
about
of
Walmart
gold.
offends every African-American customer they have?
Well, that might not be so good.
And every, not just African-American customer, but every customer believes in history and the New York Times and Nicole Hannah-Jones and
get ready,
and
because the latest is
reparations.
The Trump administration is now questioning Epic Games and Riot.
Oh, Jesus.
Tencent, by the way, has huge investments into pretty much every website you use, including Reddit. Fortnite, League of Legends. If you want to, this confirms what you were saying earlier, which is the white men don't intend or expect to continue to rule. They just want to burn it down before they go.
Yeah.
And because clearly, if you ban these very popular programs, all you're going to do is get more people hating you, which doesn't seem like a good electoral plan.
Yep.
It maybe appeals a little bit.
You're leader of a cult. You feed off of hate.
Yeah.
It also doesn't make sense to kill your voters, but he's doing that too. So
that's a good point.
Yeah, but I mean, it just
it's burn it to the ground.
It's initially started talking about with whether the antitrust action against Google was going to happen, when, nobody knows. The way it's become clear that President Trump governs, and I don't want to get into a pro-Trump, anti-Trump. Let's just talk about how he approaches things. He sees himself as a negotiator, and he likes to have everybody on the ropes. So he wants Google worried going into the election. He just, he thinks in a very simple way, apparently. And he says, okay, Google has some control over what people see and hear and what they search for and all that kind of stuff. So let's just dangle this vague threat of antitrust action out there. We don't move on it yet, not till I say so. And then over here we got TikTok, and I don't like it, so I'm gonna mix it all up, and then it'll be up to me to decide who gets what and where and all this kind of stuff. I'll do the re-education camp thing because that'll own the libs, et cetera. But he likes to have all these plates spinning and all these things in play so that he can come in and just at the opportune time make a big change that's his change. And so he seems to operate in this way. And you can explain a lot of what happens at the federal level based on this sort of, I guess you'd call it a negotiating style, to throw everybody off their game so that you have all this leverage. And that's one part of it. But I do also want to do a kind of a full-throated look at the fundamental problem. So I agree with Jeff. I agree with you, Jeff, about the First Amendment rights of TikTok users. I agree that you shouldn't be banning apps and all that, but I do want to acknowledge that there's a problem, and separate from all of that. And the problem is you have an authoritarian government who has as part of their laws that they can go and muck with data with any company operating in China. So you have an algorithmically generated content source that's just exploding in popularity globally. You have a government that bans other social networks from operating in that country. So Facebook doesn't get to play in China, but TikTok gets to play in the United States. So you have this disparity, and you have the government of China who is slowly building these advantages in a coming cyber war, propaganda war, hot war, cold war, whatever may come. They want to have all the advantages in place that they can. And TikTok is a potential advantage for propaganda. So you can imagine in an extreme case, let's just say they do ban certain things, but let's say they just said, you can never mention Winnie the Pooh on TikTok globally. You can never mention Tiananmen Square on TikTok globally. You can never mention any criticism of the Chinese government ever, anywhere on TikTok. And let's say TikTok became the by far the world's town hall. You can see how that's a problem, right?
Yeah.
That's what the world says about us, Mike. I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Let's look at Hollywood. Let's look at Hollywood, for example. Hollywood movies. In Chinese movies, you can criticize the United States, but you can't criticize the Chinese Communist Party. In Hollywood movies, you can criticize the United States, but you cannot criticize China, because Hollywood will voluntarily censor their movies because they want that market. Right. So we're entering into a world on many sources of content where China is always the good guy and the United States is always the bad guy. This is an issue, I think, that has to be dealt with. I don't think it's banning apps. It's not going to get us there. But, I mean, we barely even talk about it.
I would agree with you. There are many, many issues. I mean, China is acting strategically on a 100-year plan, and we can't make this single plan for a week. So right. I agree there are issues. I'm not saying, but I don't think banning TikTok addresses the deep underlying issues that we
it doesn't
need
at
to
all.
address.
No,
and I don't know. Yeah, okay. So anyway, who cares if you ban TikTok? It's just a stupid app anyway. Actually, a lot of people on TikTok care.
People will be upset, but there will be another app.
Maybe, but everybody learned how to use TikTok. Why should they have to move?
Well, and TikTok was a step change, I believe, because it was the first one that really enabled people to collaborate in a string like that.
Right.
I think it was the next change. It wasn't that I'm going to make something that you're going to
isn't that cool? On. Yeah. It's the resharing, the reuse. It's exactly what people like Cory Doctorow and I've forgotten his name, Larry.
Magic?
No, the
Kudlow?
No, yeah, Larry Kudlow's been arguing for this for years. No.
Bird.
The Creative Commons guy. It's what they've been arguing for a long time, which is the best, that you have to have a Creative Commons. Thank you. You have to have a Creative Commons so that people can, Walt Disney wrote, his stories based on long public domain fairy tales, but then immediately pulled up the ladder and said, "But you can't reuse my stuff." It's important that the public domain exists, the public commons, the public sphere exists, so that people can build upon it. And that's what TikTok does really well. I mean, they've been talking about this for years, but here's a platform that actually, formalizes it, and it works beautifully. It's really cool to watch people do that, and even do music. In fact, so much so that it's pushed companies like Facebook to say, we got music you can use. Mm-hmm. Facebook's licensed apparently a significant amount of commercial music, so that creators on Facebook can use it. And I think that that's definitely a response to TikTok, right? It's not the same though. It's not at all the same.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Let's take go ahead.
I just, as a parting shot against Facebook, it doesn't take a whole lot for Facebook to copy what somebody else is doing in the social sphere.
No, they're trying. But the interesting thing is, one thing they haven't done well is copy TikTok. Instagram created Reels. They really tried to make a TikTok clone. They're not the only ones. A lot of people are trying to do this. YouTube has a similar plan. And something about TikTok, it's that magic sauce.
And Trump was not able to. Trump, used every other platform. He wasn't able to use TikTok to his benefit. That's part of the reason here.
Yeah.
It's really
There is
fascinating.
I have to say, though, if you look for it, there is a lot of pro-Trump content on TikTok. Maybe the algorithm does not forward it along. I don't know.
I think the algorithm, and there was a story about the algorithm last week. To my mind, the algorithm is extremely simplistic. It's just you like
That's
more
what
of
Matt
this.
Cutts said
And
when he was on this show. He said, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I could do that.
No big deal.
I could write that algorithm in 5 minutes." Actually, he was on Twit when he said that. But yeah. Yeah, I want to just take a little break, keep us on schedule here so we move along. And then we have the changelog still to come. Lots of other
That's good
stories.
stuff on the run.
Yeah.
Good stuff here.
I'll tell you what. I like to do this. When we come back, you guys, each of you.
How about this for a teaser? Show a picture. Can you find the cat?
Can you
Line
find
number 152.
the cat? Should I do that?
Can you find the
before
cat?
the
Just do it
commercial?
beforehand, because we're going to see if
Let
anybody
people
in the break.
look for the cat.
No, they're listening to the commercial, I know, but they might also be able to multitask. And can they find?
This is
the
on
cat?
Reddit, the Find My Cat Challenge. Should
Those of you who
should I
are
play the
astounded,
video?
astounded.
What should I do?
No, it's not a video. No, it's not a video. It's the picture.
Yeah.
It's the Reddit picture. It's a still picture.
I
No,
see
forget
that cat.
That's not it.
Yes.
That's not it.
There's-
No, where is it?
I
So
see.
keep going. Keep going. You're frustrating me.
There's so many ads. This is a comment
No,
section.
it's up. You're right. It's up. It's up. What is it? What's wrong?
Oh, here it is.
No, you found it. Okay. No, that's not it.
That's not it. This is a parliamentary meeting in which a tail wandered through the video, but you're not talking about that.
No,
You want
there's a Reddit picture there. There
Find
was
My Cat in this
earlier
photo.
today.
I'm
Down.
clicking this link. This is from the subreddit r/aw.
There, that's it. That's it.
Find. Wait a minute. Let me make it a little smaller because we got to get it all in the frame. Somewhere in this photo, there is a kitty. Okay, so should
Those of you
people
playing at home,
screen
you can
cap
search
this?
for
I'll just
Find
leave this
My-
up while I do the ad. How
Find My
about that?
Cat in this photo, and on Reddit when you're listening over.
Did you find it, Jeff? Were you able to find it?
No, I didn't. No, I had to cheat. I had to go to the spoiler. Yep, I didn't find the cat. So we'll come back. We'll find the cat.
What the what? Where is the cat? The cat. There's a cat. Now you got me. This is a fun game. Is this a game?
It's a fun game.
Is this a game on Reddit?
Yeah.
Oh,
People
Burke
love this so much,
found
they
it.
want more of the same.
Don't tell us, Burke. Burke says he's
I'm not
found
gonna
it.
tell you.
When we come
I
back,
see it too.
Burke and Ant will reveal the cat. I see the Samsung phone. I see 2 remote controls. I see a coffee cup. But is there a kitty cat in there? Is it big or is it little?
I'm not saying no. You're cheating. No.
Nope.
Nice try. Go do your commercial.
Is it clearly visible?
Just go do your
think so.
commercial. Go do your commercial.
Our show today,
What
I
was
got
that
a new
sponsor
game.
again?
Find the hot cloud storage. It's right underneath your sushi there. It's that green ball. It's called Wasabi Hot Cloud Storage, which is the best deal on storage since the zip drive. Let me tell you this. Wasabi, look, there are many, many businesses these days who generate a lot of data. We generate a lot of data. Every show we do, we generate a ton of data. Terabytes of data and we know we're going to have to store that. So what do? You go out and buy more hard drive capacity? Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. But did you know you could buy cloud storage on Wasabi for less than just the annual cost of maintenance fees on the same amount of on-premises storage? Just the maintenance fees alone cost more than Wasabi for the same amount of storage. Wasabi's amazing. And now somebody might say, well, but my on-prem storage, I could see it right there. It's more secure. Oh, I don't think so. First of all, Wasabi stores your data encrypted, even if you don't specify it, on premier Tier 4 data center facilities that are highly secure and fully redundant. Wasabi does active integrity checking. Do you do this on your on-prem? Every object stored is checked for integrity every 90 days, and if it's not exactly perfect, it's replaced from the redundant storage. That means they've got 11 nines of durability. Do you have 11 nines on your hard drive? I don't think so. Wasabi follows all the industry's best security models and design practices. They have access control mechanisms, bucket policies, ACLs. But I love this even more. You can't do this on your on-prem storage. Your data will be immutable. You could set data so that it can't be erased. It can't be altered by anything from ransomware other kinds of malware, hackers, even from yourself. And frankly, let's be honest, human error is really the biggest threat to data. But if it's immutable, none of it matters. Wasabi's amazing. Now, let me on top of that say it is 1/5 the cost of Amazon's S3. 1/5, and it is about 6 times faster. So, okay, let's recap. More secure, faster, less expensive. It's Wasabi. It's pretty much a no-brainer. The problem is it's a brand new company, a brand new product. Maybe you hadn't heard about it before. I want you to try Wasabi because I think you will love it. And by the way, if you're an MSP and you resell storage, resell cloud, you're going to love it because you can make more money and charge less to your customers. Everybody wins with Wasabi. HIPAA compliant, FINRA compliant, CJIS compliant. Wasabi is highly secure, disruptive technology that's turning the industry on its ear. And it's 80% cheaper and 6 times the speed of the industry leader. Oh, and by the way, and it bugs the heck out of me, I put stuff on S3 and they charge, hey, a nice price. I stored it on S3 and then they charge you to get it. No, not Wasabi, no charge for egress. 0, no charge for API access. Now, this is the topper. It uses the Amazon S3 API. It's API compatible with Amazon S3. So all your tools, all the stuff you've written, all the tools you use, it all works. Wow. I should mention they have this. Now, normally it's just a flat rate. It's very affordable. But they do have this new thing called reserved capacity storage. If you are, like us, churning out a pretty consistent amount of data every month, you know you're going to need this much storage every month. You can reserve your storage for 1, 3, or 5 years, whatever amount you need, and you'll get even more discounts. It'll be even more affordable. The longer the term, the greater the capacity, the more you save. So that's Wasabi's reserved capacity storage. You got to check that out too. I don't know why, everybody says, oh, Amazon or Google or Microsoft Cloud. No. You got to be doing Wasabi. Calculate the savings for yourself. And kick yourself for not doing it earlier. Start a free trial of storage right now for 1 month at wasabi.com. Click the free trial link, and please, if you would, enter the offer code TWIT so they know you heard it here. Join the movement. Migrate your data to the cloud and do it with confidence. Wasabi.com. Do the free trial, but do use the offer code TWIT. Thank you, Wasabi, for your support. Thank you for supporting us by using TWIT as the offer code. Wasabi! Hot cloud storage. All right, I'm looking. Bert, do you want?
That's the one who's going to tell you.
You want to give us? Don't tell me. Give us. Let me zoom in and look at different parts. Is that the cat there on the? No, that's not the cat there.
Nope.
Is that?
You're close.
Is the cat in the chandelier?
Negative.
No. Is the cat in the Buddha?
Stay with the stairs.
Stay with the stair. Oh, there's the kitty.
There's the kitty cat.
Oh, thank you for the hint, Ant. The cat's just peering around the corner. You see, all you see is one ear.
It's kind of great, isn't it?
That's a great cat photo. Sometimes I see too many cat photos, but this one
you can't see too many cat photos.
Not in this
case.
case.
No, possible.
Do you have cats, Jeff?
Well, you see, so I'm a dog person by birth.
Yes, as am I.
My wife's a cat person.
Of course.
And when the debate came, she would wake up the children on a really cold, wet, miserable morning and say, if we had a dog, you'd have to walk it now.
Oh.
Pick up its poop.
Oh.
I lost.
Ow.
But I love the cat. The cat's wonderful.
That's just going.
It was unfair as hell.
That's going below the belt, man. Wow.
Casey Newton. Casey Newton leaves the Verge.
Leaves the Verge.
What?
Where's Casey going?
Didn't see that? Line 156.
Line 156. I love this. It's like a deli. I'd like one from 156. He's going to Substack. That's not even a place. It's a newsletter.
Yep.
He's doing his own?
Yep. Charging for it.
So that's really interesting. So basically, he says, I'm going to make my... You did that, Mike, didn't you, kind of? You said, I'm going to make my own way. I'm going to do a newsletter. Oh, Mike, you're muted. He's muted. I don't know if that's us or...
That was me. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, I re-enabled my newsletter. I started my newsletter literally 20 years ago, and so I brought it. It sort of went away for a few years, and I brought it back about 3 years ago. So, but newsletters have, obviously they're same things happening in newsletters that happen to podcasting, where for a long time there was a lot of people doing personalized things, and then larger and larger publications nowadays are getting into newsletter publishing. So it's a crowded space.
Substack is interesting. Tell me about Substack. You didn't know? Does anybody use Substack here?
I don't. No.
No, people. I mean, they're doing neat things. They're creating a lot of stuff for the writers. They're looking to try to get them libel insurance, I think, and health insurance and stuff like that. They have various services. They're very smart. They're going out and recruiting big names like this and paying them money to do it. Very much like the podcast world.
Oh, that's interesting.
They take, I think, 10% of your revenue, which some think is high. And they're doing neat stuff. So I got into a discussion today with Matthew Ingram and others, kind of saying, he was noting this and saying, where's this going to go, and how applicable it is to the long tail of journalism as opposed to the high profile writers like Casey. Will others come along? Carolyn McCarthy came along and said, something that I think will have to be addressed is that people simply do not want to open that many emails. And I couldn't agree more.
I agree.
I
agree. All the newsletters I subscribe to go into a pile where I don't read them.
So she said, I feel like some kind of custom consolidated hub is the next step, to which I responded,
That's Medium.
Email is not a very good delivery mechanism for email newsletters, as it turns out. We might need something new like RSS.
Oh, jeez Louise.
To which Carolyn said, okay, let's queue all the morning for Google Reader being gone. But yeah.
Right. So this is a newsletter that you would pay for?
Yes, it's $10 a month, or $100 a year, or there's $1,000 a month or $100 a month level, but you don't know what the real benefit is until you're inside.
So Casey's newsletter is going to be called Platformer: News at the Intersection of Silicon Valley and Democracy. Okay. Now I have to point out, Medium is another way people are doing this. Yep. The problem I've always had, and I've always been very nervous about, is if you live on somebody else's platform, you're at their mercy.
Bingo. Here's the difference, I think. Here's the thing. I was talking about this. I got in a discussion with Matthew about this too. Because he was saying, podcasts were all independent, and then they went to big companies. Now
not me.
Newsletters are independent, go to big companies. Not you. Not
that we didn't try.
You're the old lady who won't sell her property.
No, I would have if they'd have given me enough money. But so not that we didn't try, but nobody wanted it. So,
but the difference now, I think, is the independent person. And we have a new degree we have a new rather educational program at the school. Our remade entrepreneurial programs for this is you're not going to be on one platform. You're an independent person. You're going to have a newsletter. Maybe it's on Substack. You're going to have a blog. Maybe it's on Medium. You're going to have videos. Maybe they're on YouTube. I've always
said that. You should use as many different not just different places, but different media as well. Write, record, audio, video. Do as many, because you want to reach people in whatever ways they're
and somebody said in this exchange, I forget who it was, you're going to use Facebook to promote, but you're not going to do it. You're not going to put your whole business on Facebook. You're going to use these platforms rather than be used by them. Sorry, Amp.
No, I agree 100%. It's just, I just consider it being a jack of all trades and master of none, just sort of picking and choosing just enough to be able to get your message across,
Like the way you pick your moral panics.
Yeah. Right. And still have your own place, like your own domain that you run, that you manage.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll give you a good example. Lisa wrote an article about how podcasting is changing in COVID. And she thought, well, I could put it on my blog, but why don't I put it on Medium? Mm-hmm. So she did. And as you know, if you use the word COVID, you're going to get a big banner on Medium that says, now, we don't vet any of this stuff, so don't believe anything you read. Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. And then, for reasons we'll never understand, they suspended her account. One article.
What?
Yeah. And furthermore, without a warning, without any recourse, there was nobody to contact. Her account was down for 10 days. And then they sent her a note saying, "Oh, that was an accident. Sorry," and she's back up. So this is why I don't
lost revenue in those 10 days.
I don't like being on somebody else's platform.
Right.
So whatever happened to Jack's plan to do the open source version of Twitter, and what was that called? What was that plan called? You remember where they brought people in?
Yeah.
So that they were going to.
Well, that wasn't that long ago. Maybe they're still doing it.
Of this.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Like a federated Twitter or something.
Yeah. What was that called? What?
Yeah.
Twitter OSS.
I don't know. Who cares what it was called?
I care about it because I want to write about it.
Oh.
You're doing my homework.
You basically want us to do your research.
Right, yeah, I do exactly that.
Okay.
You're failing me.
Well, wait a minute. Let me just Google that, and I'm sure I could find it.
Chat room, you got it. Your chat room won't fail me.
Here it is. Open source is happening. Twitter OSS. Our philosophy, heat, light, and love. I don't know if that's. I don't know who that is.
That's not it. No,
Projects. It's called Pants. It's called Pants. Please write your article about pants. If it's not pants, it's bijection or finagle. No,
it's none of those.
No,
what is it?
Finatra, Dodo, Razulus.
Wow.
Common.
Rabbit hole.
Rabbit. Tweemoji. Hogan.
Oh,
they got a few of these. Ambrose.
What was it called?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Chat room, are you going to rescue me here?
No, they're coming up with worse. There's some Mastodon.
No.
GeoCities. Gowalla, Path, Peach, Oink. Any of those? Any of those ring a bell? MySpace.
Oh, people. Google you're not helping me out here.
Twitter Plus. All right. No. Anyway, but I've always said that. That's why we've been very reluctant when Facebook Live came out. People said, "Oh, you should stream on Facebook Live." I've been very reluctant.
I said that. You were right. You were right. I said you should.
We are on YouTube, but it's not important to our revenue, and it's not important. I don't think it's. Some of this it's out of my hands. I have a marketing department now, which I'm not a big marketer, as you know, but I think the best thing is what we do, which is you have an RSS feed and people subscribe to it. It's called a podcast. And I'm riding that all the way down to the very bitter end. I'm just going to say right now. Was it Friendster? No.
Wow.
No damned help at all.
Wait a minute. No, we got an article. This is from Karsten. Jack Dorsey wants a decentralized Twitter.
Yes. What is it? Karsten, bless you, my son.
Karsten,
what's it called?
you should hire him as your research assistant.
Activity Pub? No.
No. Mastodon? No.
It should have
He
been.
started a group working on this.
Yes, I remember. And the reason we found out is they had a listing for jobs.
Yeah.
It may not have a name.
No, it did. I know it did.
The only thing comes to my mind is Aloe or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Avalon, something like that. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Well,
all right.
Afterlife.
Carson, almost. You did better than the rest of them.
Hello.
A small independent team. Yeah, all that, right? Yep.
Hey, Quibi. What about Quibi? That would be a good name.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so freaking funny.
So apparently Quibi, well, that's called Schadenfreude, as I remember.
It is.
Quibi, which was, of course, the highly, almost $2 billion financed attempt to take Hollywood, to take on YouTube from Hollywood with Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitten at the helm. They released it with some misgivings during the pandemic. Turns out their misgivings were well guided. After the 3-month free trial, pretty much everybody left. And now they are apparently shopping themselves after 6 months, trying to find a buyer. Been there, done that, Quibi. Good luck to you. Maybe Spotify. Did you ever think of Spotify?
What's to buy there? What the heck is to buy there?
That great sideways phone technology. You can watch it wide or watch it tall. Doesn't matter. I don't know. What is to buy there? They also say they're looking for other options. Maybe the buyer, whatever. Strategic options. Wow. They got a lot of stars. Chrissy Teigen didn't really turn it. What it does, that tells you that it didn't go that well, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because if you go to the 2001 crash was we're going to buy audience.
Right.
The use of investors' money since then is we're going to buy stars.
Right.
Neither way,
which
it's not
pays
sustainable.
off. Because PewDiePie is not for sale, my friends. That's the thing that drives Hollywood crazy. What's with the PewDiePie guy? How come he's so big?
Yeah.
And how can we duplicate that?
We need our PewDiePie. Where's our PewDiePie?
Where's our
Go find a
PewDiePie?
If it
Ant.
doesn't drive Hollywood crazy, it drives me crazy.
Well, yeah.
He just, no, I should say that. But no, I remember thinking this is a guy playing games and he's just swearing into the mic.
Right.
And people love it.
Right. Well, what made Kim Kardashian famous? I mean,
I know
realize
they're famous.
21 seasons of Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
A sex tape.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's what did it.
that wore off after a few months, a few minutes.
Leo, in our day, we don't have Stacey here to make fun of us for age, but we don't. Ant can do the job
I
himself.
remember.
In our day,
Fellas.
remember
You old
these game show contestants, these celebrity game show contestants
Yeah.
who were famous for nothing
Kitty
but being famous on
Carlisle.
the game show?
Yeah.
Kitty Carlisle.
Yeah. There were a lot of them on all the game shows. They were famous for being famous.
Yeah.
We've always
What's
had
my
that.
line?
But then, did you read last week in the New York Times the long piece on Paris Hilton, who is she invented famous for being famous. In fact, Kim Kardashian was her assistant.
Was her buddy.
Yeah, buddy, assistant.
Mm-hmm.
But then it turns out maybe Paris Hilton does work for a living because she's got 93 cosmetic lines. She DJs 250 events a year, and get this, gets paid $1 million per event.
Oh, F me. Oh, just F me. There is no justice in life.
But she makes
At
a
least
quarter of
at
$1
least
billion
she's
a
working
year
and not just tweeting.
DJing. So you could say she's famous for nothing, but or a sex tape or whatever. But in fact, she works her butt off.
Yeah, at least she's working.
It's actually the reason for the article was that YouTube has a documentary called "This Is Paris," which I'm sure Edward R. Murrow is just rolling in his grave.
I believe it mentions her dealing with some abuse from her parents and things like that.
Yeah.
too.
So this is the thing about
Pretty dark.
This is well, you got to remember a lot of this is about cultivating the brand and everything. I don't want to be cynical, but what she revealed is that she was sent off to one of those kind of juvenile delinquent boarding schools. Yeah, it's not just a regular boarding school. It's they kidnap you and they realign you and stuff. And she said she was actually pretty horribly abused. So I feel bad for her. But anyway, she was the original, wasn't she? Paris Hilton.
Well, Arlene Francis in our day.
Arlene Francis. Kitty Carlisle was like a socialite, right? I think that was her.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. She was married to Moss Hart, so that's not, she was like famous by association, right? Her grandfather was the mayor of Shreveport. So there.
I was at a tech conference in Armenia last year, and it was it was pretty technical stuff going on, but Kim Kardashian came and spoke actually, and it was standing room only. I couldn't believe it. It was just at a tech conference, and so and I had a grudging respect for her.
Did she talk about the latest Intel chip?
No, well, the punchline is I had a grudging respect for her based on just figured, she's an entrepreneur, she's involved with the game somehow. I didn't really pay that much attention, but once I heard her spoke, I lost all respect. So,
really,
somebody is reminding me.
I just couldn't. I mean, she came across like. I mean, she had nothing to say. I was a little shocked.
I know here recently she's passed the bar and has done some things with civil justice here in California. Yeah.
Kim Kardashian. Well, her father, of course, is famous for being OJ's attorney. But What? Wow.
But yeah, here recently, she's been on the path of trying to fight civil injustice for some people here in the state of California. I don't have the names in particular.
Well, good for her.
But yeah, she's been trying to fight the good fight. And even, a lot of people talked about her canceling, well, not canceling, but taking Kanye out of the limelight.
I hope she
on the
does.
Television show.
Yeah, because
but it's the smart thing to do because she's not wanting to make light of mental health awareness and things like that.
Care of him.
So she's growing.
Good.
And of course, we have to mention, since we're talking about Kim Kardashian, that they just canceled the Kardashian or whatever.
Well, that's what I brought it up after 21 years.
And
21 seasons.
Exactly.
Actually, 20. So that's what fooled me. They said 21 seasons. I thought, my God, but it was
she's like 28, right?
yeah. It wasn't 21 years. It was 21 seasons. It was over only like 14 years or something like that.
But here's the question. Here's the question. I think that is being raised by this story, and some of the other things we've been talking about. Is celebrity over? Are people fed up with celebrities? The Paris Hilton doc seems like a very savvy move to humanize somebody who is just worshipped for being, a fabulous personality. Are we just done with celebrities? Is it impossible now in the culture to have a popular show about celebrities' lives?
I don't think so.
Funny thing you should
mention as long as we still have TikTok and as long as we still have Instagram stories and things like that.
No, but
there's going to
TikTok's an example of how people who are not celebrities are getting all the attention.
You know who deserves
they do
attention?
In turn become some sort of a celebrity.
That's how they
try to pivot that into other brands.
That's right.
But can any of us name a single TikTok celebrity who became famous? Like we can name 100 people who did it on YouTube.
I can. You ever heard of Little Nas X?
No.
What?
I can't name Mr. Elgin because I don't get on TikTok. That's the only reason why.
But it's like you heard of Justin Bieber and all kinds of people who came up on YouTube, for example, where the celebrity manufacturing process resulted in major household names.
Excuse me. I'm going to once again say Little Nas X. Who had the longest running #1 music hit in history, beating the Beatles, Stevie Wonder, and Michael Jackson in 2019. Remember Old Town Road? If I play it, I'll get taken down, so I'm not going to play it.
Can't play it.
But don't listen to it.
I do remember that.
Yes, of course you remember this. Yeah. It was really an interesting song because it was kind of country, kind of rap.
Yeah, he caught a lot of heat.
Yeah. And, by the way, he became famous on TikTok. It was people on TikTok not only watching the video, in fact, especially not watching the video, but hearing the song as others reused it that made Old Town Road a big hit. So that's somebody. There he is. True. Lil Nas X.
I didn't realize it was TikTok as the origin, though.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. Isn't that cool? I think actually it's a great story. So,
Mike, to your point, there was a neat post I put up today about where the hell did it go now? Jesus, generative entertainment. That you're going to get so good at making fake stars, fake people. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's working for therapy now. It's going to work for everything else. So you end up in a time of unlimited entertainment.
Well, I think we're there.
We're there pretty much.
I think we're there.
Well, but I think what Jeff's talking about.
TikTok made Sarah Cooper famous.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Is she a celebrity? I guess she is. Yeah.
She hosted the Tonight Show.
Yeah, I mean, she's famous, but yeah, I mean.
She's a celebrity.
Anyway, so I think what Jeff's talking about is the use of, correct me if I'm wrong, the use of artificial intelligence to create not only entertainment and articles and things like that at a just colossal scale. Yes,
exactly.
That's thousands per minute. So we may be having the same conversation, but instead of wondering whether celebrities still have the same juice they used to have, whether people do.
Exactly. I think there's something in human nature, though, that we like celebrity. We want to have celebrities. It makes us feel connected in some way.
Maybe media. I think that's a echo chamber. Media has convinced you of that.
Really?
Yeah, it's the media structure.
I mean, I think you could make a strong argument that the president is the president because of The Apprentice.
Oh, yeah. But
I think you can make a strong argument that Joe Rogan is the most successful podcaster
that
of all
doesn't mean
time.
that we're meant to like it. That's the end of the line.
Because of the Man Show and the Fear Factor. I think being on TV.
Not Man Show.
He wasn't on the Man Show? Rogan was? Yes, he was.
Corolla and Kimmel.
And Rogan was on that, wasn't he? I don't know.
I think so.
I didn't watch it, so I have no idea. I know, well, Corolla and Kimmel are famous because of the Man Show. So, okay, I rest my case. So I think television has a remarkable connection to our brains through our eyes. We think we know these people. We love these people. And I don't think that's going to go away. I don't think you can do art.
But here's what I think we can all agree is changing. The number of celebrities that exist just keeps growing enormously, and the number of people to whom each celebrity can relate is shrinking. So you talk about television. Yeah, television is mass medium, and so if you watch the Man Show back when there were slightly fewer channels, then Adam Carolla and Jimmy Kimmel, and now you follow their careers and so on.
And here is Joe Rogan on the freaking Man Show. Okay? Okay?
You got me.
So I'm just telling you, TV has a remarkable ability to create. I think it taps into the part of your brain that is about social and about friendliness. And there's something about it that radio doesn't do this as well. You can't. I mean,
but your show does. The same dynamic exists with this show and with your shows, Leo. A lot of people feel like they really know you.
No, but you know why I'm successful, Mike? Because I was a minor celebrity on a little known cable channel for 6 years. That's what this whole thing came out of. Was 6 years in a very minor cable channel called Tech TV. And I don't think I'd be here today if I didn't do that. So I'm not sure I agree with you, Mike.
Well, you picked up a lot of audience and brought them with you for sure. But the video medium does have that powerful effect. My point is that the number of people who were in front of video is growing exponentially, and the number of people who tune in to each particular video personality is getting smaller. So we'll have celebrities, so to speak.
Yes.
But I think the audiences will get smaller and the number will get greater.
It'll be sliced. So, yes. But I would submit that most people will end up having 5 people that they really zoom into and connect with. But it's just that it's going to be different 5 people for everybody, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So you won't have the mass celebrity, perhaps. Although I still think you're going to have #1 hit records, #1 hit movies, and #1 hit people. That some people will rise to the top and become somehow universal. I don't know why, but I still believe that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. I'll be dead, but we'll see. And now
what's going to happen? What's going to happen now?
Time for the Google changelog.
The Google changelog.
Karsten stacked this thing like the Supreme Court.
I know. He really loves the changelog.
He added so much more in. I had other stories elsewhere. No. That's changelog, he says. Putting that in changelog.
Well, I'm just going to start with this. The Google Doodle contest that they do for kids. The Doodle for Google contest, according to Google, was one for the books. Tens of thousands of entries from students all over the nation. The prompt was, I love the prompt, I show kindness by... ... A few weeks ago, they announced their 5 national finalists one from each grade group. But it is now time to announce the winner of the 2020 Doodle for Google contest, Texas 5th grader Sharon Sarah. And there is her doodle, "Together as One," highlighting the importance of inclusion and acceptance. See, there's your people right there. And see, each one is wearing a different letter in the word Google. Don't you love how massive corporations pretend to be human?
So cynical.
Well, they are human under the law, Leo.
Oh, that's true. That's true. By making contributions to political parties and nominating 5th graders to win a contest. So she's barely been entering since 3rd grade. So there you go. Yeah. And what does she win? She will receive, get ready, she will be seen by the nation on the Google homepage, and then a $30,000 college scholarship. Her school, Vaughn Elementary School, will receive a $50,000 technology package. So
Chromebooks. They're going to get the Chromebooks. I'm not getting the kids.
Yeah, they're going to get all the old Pixelbooks.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Sharon.
Enjoy
Sarah.
them kids.
She's a celebrity that deserves the name celebrity because she drew a nice little drawing. Hey, did you know that Flutter will now work with Windows? Yes, it will. Oh, sorry. Google gets a COVID layer. I don't know what.
I put this one on. I put this one in. He moved it down there. It's going to tell you where there's more COVID cases.
There's COVID over here, so stay away.
Is it my problem? Did I do it wrong?
No, I said it. I decided from now on I'm calling it COVID. Or the Rona. So there'll be so in addition to, it's like cooties. It's the coovies. In addition to satellite layer, traffic layer, you can add now a COVID-19 layer.
Stay away from there.
Wow. Is it? Yeah, look. So here in this map, North Dakota is red and South Dakota is pink, but Nebraska's yellow. So just consider that. The data comes from Johns Hopkins, the New York Times, and Wikipedia. Okay. Files by Google can now open PDFs and adjust video playback speed.
That's good.
Good. Files is, nice. Good to have. Google Takeout now lets you, thank God, select photo albums to transfer them directly to Flickr or OneDrive, Microsoft's product. So it used to be you had to download these files and there's XML files and other than that.
I think you're also supposed to be able to take an individual photo and now share it directly to like Twitter without going through that whole Megillah.
Hallelujah. I don't know. You already sent your Pixel Buds back, Jeff. I'm sorry to say. Twice. You don't have any anymore, do you?
No, and I was waiting for them to fix them, but this is not the fix.
Oh, so there is a fix.
Different problem.
There is a fix.
Whole different problem
that addresses the audio cutouts that happen every 110 seconds. I thought that was the one you were talking about.
That's not the one I have. They're still saying, this defines a lemon. They're still admitting they haven't solved the other problem.
So you were getting cutouts, but it wasn't every 110 seconds.
No. It wasn't that. This was a whole new problem.
That's sad.
They fixed, but they have still not fixed the problem, and they're still selling the product, which I think is
that's really sad.
Unconscionable.
Does everybody have this problem?
No, it's the weird thing, but they acknowledge that enough people do.
Hardhead hasn't complained in a long time.
Is that what he's using?
He wears his quite regularly.
Is he using the originals or the new ones?
He bought his right when it came out, so
they don't have a wire connecting them. They're just two separate ones. Okay, that's the new ones. Google is moving Android 11 to the Android TV platform. I actually am happy to hear that. I have a NVIDIA Shield. It's my favorite Android TV device. It's pricey, but it's got a nice processor in it and all that. So, why am I hearing myself? Is that coming from something?
It's your ego talking.
It's your conscience.
I hear it too.
I think my bicameral mind has finally split right in the middle, and I'm talking to myself again. Hello? Is that from Mike? Who's that coming from? Can you tell?
Yeah, someone's need a headphones.
Somebody's got headphones too loud. The phone app is being renamed to not a phone. No, it's going to be called.
They didn't take a note from Microsoft.
That would be funny, wouldn't it? It's going to be called the Phone by Google. In case you didn't know. Google has launched a work tracking tool that's actually kind of like Airtable, which is a really cool product. It's called Tables. And this comes from the incubator Area 120. It lets you track projects. There are just so many other things. Not just Tables. Our sponsor Monday. There's so many other things that do this. Jira, Atlassian's Jira. But Now there's tables. Might be worth trying. I looked at the UI and I thought this does not seem really very attractive. But there you can import data from Google Sheets or a comma separated value file, share data with your Google groups, and assign tasks to people found in your Google contacts. They also have templates, and there are automated actions. So you can have grid views, record lists, Kanban boards, and maps. Yeah, it sounds just like, Monday.
Well, pricing and, what's the value of that, far as what features you're getting out of that? That's what's going to matter.
$10 per user per month. Very pricey. Well, you can use it for free for 100 tables and 1,000 rows. But if you want to get more tables and more rows, $10 per user per month. You also get bigger attachments, more actions, advanced history, blah, blah, blah. Maybe worth looking at. This is
at least worth a try for someone that needs it, that can't necessarily afford some of those other products.
$10 a month is about what the other guys charge as well per user. And Google, which has always had trouble with paid Chrome extensions, they put them on hold. They limited them. Now they've just shut them down. Developers can no longer make new paid extensions. That there was a temporary suspension back in January because of the number of fraudulent transactions surrounding paid extensions. They're going to just phase them out. And by February 1st, any existing extension will no longer be able to charge customers. So here's the timeline. The announcement of deprecation happened a couple of days ago. The new item ban is now permanent. Free trials disabled December 1st. All payments disabled February 1st. And the licensing API will shut down later. In case you have a paid extension. I'm sure they're legit paid extensions, but it was the abuse that was causing a problem. And I believe in a record amount of time, we have now completed the Google changelog. Couple of quickies. I wanted to give you, Jeff, a chance to mention your new product.
So thank you for the plug.
Yes.
So we started at my center at the Town Knight Center at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism. We run communities of practice. The first one we started was around product. We had about 25 people from mainly New York, but also around the country, who in this new job title that didn't exist in newspapers, it didn't exist in news, who were in product. And it grew. And then friends at Temple and Mizzou came and said, we want to make this thing national and we want to make it international. So as of today, there is the opening of the news product, what is it called? Alliance,
NPA.
Right. So we also have communities of practice around audience and talent and inclusion and commerce. We're starting one for the independent journalists, for the Casey Newtons of the world. One around data and the business of journalism, but this one was the first one
Nice.
The bird flew out of the nest, and I'm very, very proud of this. And it was an example of collaboration. Google, in full disclosure, has backed training for product people through this group and our continuing education arm, and I think it's going to be good. It's
What's the
try
deliverable? Is it a
It's an association for people who work in product and news, so they can cry on each other's shoulders for nobody understands what they do.
Will there be a group?
There'll be a conference at some point. Yeah,
conference.
We already have one conference in Philly. We already have one.
Oh, good. Okay,
that's where we launched it, and with 300 people trying to come. But this is part again. This and audience development are two jobs that didn't exist in my field 20 years ago.
Nice.
So yep. Thank you for the plug.
This is the board of advisors. And if you go to newsproduct.org, you can read all about it. And if you want to pitch in, join the alliance, you can.
The news product business?
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, the Ig Nobel prizes are out. I always look forward to the Ig Nobels.
They're fun.
Yeah. These are prizes not for great scientific projects, but less than great.
They have a picture at the top from the 2009 that was really ahead of the science of the time. It was really an important thing to see there. That picture there.
This is a brassiere that can quickly convert into a pair, not one, but two protective face masks. Invented in 2009. She knew ahead of time.
She knew. This is the great thing about science. They see ahead. That's great.
Well, what's interesting is I do know people who've turned their bras into face masks. So this is not unheard of now. In the Acoustics Prize, a number of scientists received the prize. I don't want to read all their names for inducing a female Chinese alligator to bellow in an airtight chamber filled with helium-enriched air. As a result, they got the paper, A Chinese Alligator in Heliox Formant Frequencies in a Crocodilian, in the Journal of Experimental Biology.
Sadly, there's no video evidence.
Alas. Here's one I think could be very useful from the Journal of Personality. Eyebrows cue grandiose narcissism. A method to identify narcissists by looking at their eyebrows. You know, I have a method for detecting sociopaths. Did you know that?
What's that?
Would you like to know what it is? Well,
sure.
If you yawn, and you know how yawns are contagious, and the other person doesn't yawn,
they're sociopaths.
They're sociopaths.
That's why you have us on the screens and not in the
They have no
studio.
empathy, no
You're
connection.
not empathetic at all.
At all.
Hey, I am what I am.
Let me look at your eyebrows. Well, I don't know if that's a cue for narcissism.
What about the frozen feces knife? Yeah, that was another gem from the awards.
Okay. I'm looking for it.
A guy named Richard Vedder. I'm sorry. There's another person. It was a UK and US study to study whether frozen human feces could be made into usable knives.
This is from the Journal of Archaeological Science. And the title of the paper is Experimental Replication Shows Knives Manufactured from Frozen Human Feces Do Not Work.
Who knew?
Do not work. We experimentally tested knives manufactured from frozen human feces. They do not work.
That poor postdoc who had to work on that, man. Oh, geez.
But this was actually to debunk an ethnographic account of an Inuit man who made a knife from his own frozen feces to butcher and disarticulate a dog. It is apparently very common, not only in popular culture, but in academic literature. So really, this is a valuable addition.
Debunking.
It's a debunking. A valuable addition to the literature. You might have read this story in Shadows of the Sun and other sources. So doesn't work, kids. By the way, it goes on. I'll read the story. In the midst of a winter gale, over the objections of his family, he made plans to stay on the ice. An old Inuit man, he wouldn't move. He stepped out of their igloo, defecated, and honed the feces into a frozen blade, which he sharpened. See, there's details they left out. Maybe they didn't try this. He sharpened with a spray of saliva. With a knife, he killed a dog and used its rib cage as a sled and its hide to harness another dog, and then he rode off into the distance. I don't want that debunked. That's a hell of a story.
You know, one of these things is actually real. The medicine prize. I have that. I have that.
You have this? You mean the one, does pizza protect against cancer? Oh, no, that was last year.
That didn't work for me.
You have arachnophobic entomologists. No. Here it is in the medicine prize, misophonia. Do you have misophonia?
Yes, this is a real thing, and yes, I have it, yes.
It's a new psychiatric disorder, a preoccupation with a specific aversive human sound that triggers impulsive aggression. It's called misophonia. Do they say what the sound is? What's the sound that triggers you?
The distress at hearing other people make chewing sounds. I go berserk. I can't stand. Stop it, Leo. Stop it. I can't stand chewing gum near me. I can't stand people who open mouth chew. It drives me crazy because my mother.
Yeah, I think I may be with you on that.
Drilled this into me, man. You do not. You leave your lips closed. You make no noise.
I had to learn
You guys
how to
would-
deal
you-
with that
I-
the hard way because of some of my colleagues were Indian, Asian Indian, and it's very common to.
It's not polite to smack your lips, but you can't help it with Fritos corn chips.
I would recommend that you gentlemen not go to YouTube and search ASMR because half those
ASMR.
videos are people.
Smacking their lips.
No, can't stand it. So this is they're making fun of this. This is real, right, Ed? This is real.
Well, misophonia isn't specifically just for chewing. It could be other sounds, the sound of a dog barking or something. But chewing, yeah, I've seen other people complain of that. Yeah, is it that you find it disgusting, or you actually just get upset?
Personally, I think it's just nasty.
Okay.
It's nasty, and I can't concentrate on anything. I will move a restaurant.
So for the economics prize, excellent paper, I thought. National income inequality predicts cultural variation in mouth-to-mouth kissing. Apparently, it's not a human universal, and in fact has something to do with income inequality. Okay. And then there's the management prize, which I really enjoyed. This one goes to Guangxi, China. 5 professional hitmen in China who managed a contract for a hit job in the following way. After accepting a payment to perform the murder, Xi Guan'an then subcontracted the task to Mo Tianxiang, who then subcontracted the task to Yang Kangshen, who then subcontracted the task to Yang Guangshen, who then subcontracted the task to Ling Xianxi, with each subsequently enlisted hitman receiving a smaller percentage of the fee. The murder was never actually performed.
Sounds like the Enterprise.
Yeah, but there apparently there was a trial, because here's a picture. Boy, they have nice seats in the courtrooms of China. Look at those comfy.
They look like they're from a bus or something. You know, with
Airline. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. There they are. There's the 5 hitmen.
Are they in order of like how far down the line they are?
Yeah, he told him, who told him, who told him, who told him.
One got $10.
Yeah, and yeah, by the end of it, it
Supposed
wasn't
to
a
be
lot
standing
of money.
in the pyramid formation.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at the judges' outfits in China. I think that little Nas X wears that shirt. Those are nice outfits.
Is that a Hawaiian hang loose hand signal?
It looks like on the thing. I've learned a lot about Chinese jurisprudence here today. All right. I won't mention the entomologist who glued 2 extra legs on a spider to see how it would impact Do you want to hear we actually have the sound. This is the bellow of a crocodile in Heliox. If you'd like to hear it.
I think you have to download it. No.
Oh, I don't
download it.
It's a MOV file. I don't have the ability to play it back.
Well, I said I've got it though. I can do it.
Could you play it for us?
Hold on a second here. Where's my downloads?
How many times have you been on a Zoom call and you say, the only thing missing from this Zoom call would be a goat? Well, good news. You can now hire a goat for the bargain price of £5 to join you for 5 minutes of your video meeting. You can choose from Mary, Lisa, Elizabeth, or Daisy. And Daisy's probably my choice because it says what to expect from Daisy: rage and affection in equal measure, head-butting her neighbor's fence if they dare approach her hay supply, and fully qualified Scrum Master lingo. So add a goat to your next Zoom call at cronkshaw.co.uk.
I think that's an outstanding icebreaker, even though I do not like goats.
And now here, without further ado, is a crocodile bellowing in Heliox. This is stuff you don't get on other podcasts.
See, now this doesn't bother Jeff, but the
No, that's fine. No,
Chewing?
no.
Oh yeah.
Chewing drives me crazy. Chewing
That
bridges. You're learning
sounded
lots about me.
That sounded
Chewing,
disgusting.
open mouth chewing while crossing a bridge. That's it. I'm done. That's over. I'm gone. Just kill me then.
All right, let's take a little breather to consider what we've learned here today.
If anything.
Coming up next, our picks and number and so forth. Let's kick off the picks of the week with Mike Elgin, I guess. You're filling in for Stacy. Do you have a pick for this week? Yes.
I do. Now, I'm obsessed with auto-scrolling sources of content. I like, while I'm working all day, to have information strolling by that, and this is one of the, when we were talking about Google Plus, one of the things I liked about Google Plus in the very beginning was that you could do that. You could actually have your feed auto scroll.
Oh, that's cool.
I've used extensions to allow Twitter to auto scroll, but I love to have breaking news and other things scrolling while I'm working. So there's an old, and I hope it's okay that I do an old tool.
Yes.
But this is, I don't know, probably like 6, 7, 8 years old, called Scrolldit. And it's SCROLLDIT.com. And you can plug in any subreddit, and including the new version of it, the hot version, whatever. But you can put in any subreddit, and it will sit there and auto scroll. It'll auto refresh.
Nice. So let me. Let's see.
Whether you're interested in news generally or some specific area, the second something's posted, it'll show up. It'll bump the other stuff down below, and it'll just go all day long.
Wow.
Give me
a subreddit. What would be a good subreddit for us to? And what do you look at Reddit photography?
No, sir.
No.
Well, how about like pics? Do pics/new, and this is a it's for photography and also for
PICS/new. I don't know. I understand
how
the
the kids talk.
I don't know. Do I have to do the whole URL? No, I did. No, it didn't.
You got to just get rid of the K and then hit enter.
Oh, there's no K.
There's no K.
That's
PICS.
why. Oh, PICS.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on,
He doesn't
Grandpa.
follow instructions well.
What? I don't understand. Pic/new connection error. Are you sure the subreddit exists?
You might have to do the r/. Sorry, this is a dynamite segment, isn't it? Yeah, you got to do /r.
Oh, Mike, yeah,
pics.
boy. What a pick. What a pick.
Yeah, isn't it great?
It's so old it doesn't work. Okay.
Humiliating Leo is the whole idea. It's fun. Yeah.
I don't understand. What's happening here?
Anyway, so if you're into Reddit, if you like various subreddits, you can squeeze that screen down to the side to a column on the side of your screen.
I want to do that.
Just have it run
I
all
would
day.
do that all the time. Let me try a full URL, like everything.
Do auto add at the top. Yeah, there you go.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. It might be just me. Let me just do. I'm reluctant to do this, but I'm going to do the top stuff on Reddit. Now, even that doesn't work. So it's clearly my problem. It might be I have so many blockers running on here. It might be blocking it. Let me turn off. Let me turn off that. Let me turn off that. Is the website broken? Yes. Now
Why don't you get rid of all your cookies, Leo? That'll help you.
So you have an HTTPS. You have an HTTPS there, Leo.
There's no
the
S.
little box that they have there. You just want to do. It starts with a /. First thing you have is
Start with a
/r.
Okay. Just /r.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just Reddit.
All right.
Oh, the fun. I can't stand so much fun.
So much fun. It's just not working.
Ever do a live demo in life?
No.
I don't know what to turn off now.
What a pick.
I could.
Oh, my.
You have to turn off all your privacy protections in order to use this. I'm going to turn off that. Let's see. Let's keep trying.
I hope this is worth it.
Oh, boy. There it is. So that was it. That was it.
Boy, that was so much fun. I can't bear it. I'm going to have to just relax now. Too much for me.
What are we looking at? That's a terrible subreddit.
Oh, What a pick, Mike. Oh, that saved me all kinds of time. It brought me new things in life. I'm just so
let's
grateful.
see. This is
don't Leo, you just gotta stop. I'm exhausted. I'm just exhausted.
I don't understand. Why isn't this working? All right. Okay. You win.
Casio Pepe is waiting for me, guys. I gotta eat now.
I'm sure this is gonna work. Just everybody go to scrolldit.com and try it for yourself. Thank you. I've got one. This is good. This came from Patrick Delahanty. I'm not going to go through it. If we had more time, I would. It's the Techade quiz, Techade quiz.com from Plural's site. If you go through this, it's really fun. 45 images of technology you may remember from your ute. Remember that? What is that? You know what that is? Let's tell them.
Tamagotchi.
It's a Tamagotchi. And if you spell it right, yeah, it'll say you're right. That was 1996. Did you see that one? That's an 8-track. So this is kind of fun to go through this and see if you can identify some of these glorious.
Is there a Newton in there?
Oh, I bet there is. There's a flip phone. Cool. And a lot of this stuff I owned, I'm embarrassed to admit. There's a Walkman there, right? So this is kind of fun if you want to play the Techade quiz. There are some things, Burke, that we were stumped by, like this. Everybody knows that's a Simon, right? Yeah. Well,
is that an Altair next to the Simon?
This one, yeah, I wasn't sure. That sounds like an Altair. Let's see. Yep. Boy, you're good. The 8800. What about this one? Do you know what that is? What is that? I don't know what that is.
Can't tell.
I think somebody told me that that's a Pong game. Nope. See that paddle? It's just a knob. So it's an old video game, but I can't remember which one. Is it an Odyssey? Okay. Odyssee. No.
EY.
Odyssey, just like the standard spelling. Oh, you're right. It was a Magnavox Odyssey. So what's this one though? This looks like Uncle?
Looks like an ice cream maker.
Uncle John's.
Oh, that's a seat in front of a video arcade.
Actually, you know what that is? That's a feces knife, frozen feces.
Yeah,
knife.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it never really worked.
Anyway, that's kind of fun. Techadequiz.com. Jeff
Pretty
Jarvis,
cool.
I would love a number from you.
Let's see here. Well, I'm going to mention one. Then I want to mention one other thing.
You could do a couple because there's a bunch of good stuff here. Yeah.
So there was a village in the UK where every morning at 7:00, there's a number, for 18 months, the Wi-Fi, the internet would go bonkers. Wouldn't work.
That's what Ant's having.
Mess.
Ant's got that problem.
Every day,
Comcast.
7 a.m., same thing.
Yeah.
They finally figured it out. They replaced things. They did all kinds of tracking. It was one guy in town who every morning at 7:00 turned on his old-fashioned TV.
Oh, my God. And they were all on cable. So it was cable broadband, and the TV would emit a signal which would interfere with the entire village's broadband. It took him a year and a half to catch him.
The person said he was mortified and never turned it on again, but asked his name not be revealed.
Oh my God, that's
that's the number. I want to mention something here. I this is a little egotistical. I saw a tweet today from Justin Thorp, who said, "I wanted to thank you. My dad, Wesley Thorp, and I read Public Parts, the only two people on earth who did so, together when it came out. He was a former journalist, writer, and the idea of publicness really resonated with him." Next tweet. My dad passed away last Tuesday.
Oh.
I now have over 3,000 priceless blog posts that he wrote since 2004 to remember him with. I'm so grateful that he defaulted to public. And I spent some time reading through Wes Thorp's posts, and it's really amazing. He never really knew his father. He writes about the time he met him. He wrote about his love for his wife. He wrote about being a father himself, taking ministry to a prison, and enduring Parkinson's.
Wow.
So Wes Thorp, rest in peace, and blog.
That's why you write a blog.
It really is. It really is. It's 3,000 posts of a life, and it's really quite wonderful. So thank you, Justin.
We need somewhere to kind of memorialize these kinds of things, right? Because that's not going to, it's on TypePad, but it's not going to go forever. unless his son Justin pays the subscription fee. There's got to be some way to kind of, I guess, the Internet Archive. I don't know.
There have been talks about trying to do this memorializing, but I don't think anybody's ever actually done it.
Yeah. He started.
Well, I've got to think that there's got to be a way, because I've been a fan of the idea of life logging for a long time. There's got to be a way where people can do a life log actually, and then have that exist
Preserved.
in perpetuity.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess there's no money in it, so we probably
right. Well, and there's really good journaling software out there. I use Day One. And I keep thinking and Day One is kind of cool because it does a lot of. It's on a Apple's platform. No, actually, they have Android and Windows too, but it does some interesting things like it'll get the weather automatically. It'll get when I weigh myself, the scale puts the weight in there. So
it needs that kind of aggravation. Really.
It puts a lot of kind of daily stuff in there automatically, and then it gives me daily prompts. And I would think that would be something like that. And then I don't know what you print a book out of it or something. I'm sure Day One has some idea of how to do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is a beautiful example of why you would write this. And even if only Justin reads it, that's still enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the family. So thank you for mentioning that. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. Ant, your turn.
Okay, I have a few, but I'll try to be quick. First up, I remember back in maybe April or May, and we said, things are going to be back to normal about September, and, we'll be able to go back to the offices and work and yada, yada, yada. Well, nope, we are still doing Zoom and remote conferences.
I think I said September 2021 when I said
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Well, with that said, Canon, they have finally gotten their webcam software out of beta. It's now public for Windows only. It's the Canon EOS
somebody else wants to
utility.
disappoint me.
Well, they're working on an Apple version. I don't know if you'll ever have a Chrome
version.
I don't think they'll ever have a
Chromebook. It'll be another 4 weeks or so. If we look at how the beta was done, it took about 4 weeks for the Mac beta to come out.
Right.
And I've tested this, and it works really well. It works well with Hangouts, Zoom, OBS if you want to do live streaming. They don't mention XSplit, which is what I use. It works with that. And it's pretty quick, pretty easy.
Now, the whole idea here is that instead of having a capture utility, you could just take the video from the USB port on the camera. But most cameras, if you can get clean HDMI out, you can do that. You just need a little capture dongle. They sell them on Amazon, a huge range of prices from $30 to $100. And you just plug the HDMI out of your camera into that and then plug that into the USB port. So most cameras, you could do that. A big advantage is that it does it in the camera in software. It streams straight out of the USB port. So that's
straight
cool.
out.
And it works well. You like it?
Yeah, I've tried it out a couple of times, and it works really well. I haven't had any issues with it, and it works with a variety of Canon cameras out there, too, so you're not limited.
I took one of the video cameras that we use for our shows, these Canon Vixias, which aren't expensive.
Vixias?
Yeah, they're like $100 now. I took one home, and it's such a good picture compared to the soft image that I was getting from the webcam on the computer that I now have to shave before I go to meetings. And I think I'm going to start wearing makeup, to be honest with you. It's just too good of a picture.
I use a Vixia for my overhead shot.
Look at that.
I'm doing hands-on tech.
It's really crisp, isn't it?
Pop.
Yeah. Folks, I would kill for a better camera. I would kill so I'm not Pink Man.
Why don't
give me the instructions?
Bert, do we have any extra Vixias?
We have a Vixia.
Well, even if you don't, just give me the instructions.
Bert's going to look, because when we started this, we bought 40 of these cameras, and some have failed over time. I don't know how many we use these days. It's not 40, so we have some extras. I don't know many. Of them
again, even if you don't have it, if you have instructions on how to do it, I just
yeah. So and this is one where you'd need to get the HDMI.
Right.
Mini HDMI out to full HDMI, and then some sort of dongle. I bought one on Amazon. They're cheap. You plug it in, and it turns it into USB, and then you plug it in. And actually, it is a great. It would be worth it. It's in our interest to get that to you. So let's figure out a way to get Jeff.
Because I look
a
like
good
crap.
camera.
I know. Yeah.
And you're doing it on a Mac, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Mac
So-
you gave.
Yeah, it wouldn't work that well on a Chromebook, but it'll work on the Mac. I don't know why we haven't done that. We'll get you a nice camera. But you're going to have to start washing your face, shaving, putting on a little face paint, a little lipstick, a little rouge, some concealer.
Last time I shaved was for you, fella.
I know.
Little bronzer.
Little bronzer, you know.
Now, that's, actually, yeah, I should use the Trump stuff. Then I won't be pink. I'll just be orange.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll also be able to see that you've got the Art of the Deal on your bookshelf back there.
Oh, yeah, we will. There'll be a lot of people
Details.
scoping out what they can see now all of a sudden. So be careful. Be careful. Yeah, I'm reading the Michael Cohen book, Disloyal, and he explained. I'm not going to go into it. If you want to find out, read the book. Explains why the Donald's hair looks like that. There's actually a reason.
Oh boy,
It's fascinating.
I'll pass.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, Aunt Pruitt. I don't pass you.
I
Wait a
wasn't
minute.
done, though.
Oh, you got more? Go ahead, do another one.
My other one, I've been talking about Adobe Max, and I urge people, because it's free. You don't have to be a photographer. If you're interested in design and just getting into digital arts, this thing is free. I highly recommend checking it out. They got a bunch of different sessions, and they've just recently announced the guest list for the speakers that are going to be on there. Chelsea Handler, Common, Annie Leibovitz.
Gwyneth Paltrow. Wow.
Gwyneth Paltrow. I mean, it's a lot of good people that are going to be at this event. Virtually, yeah, but it's free. And I highly recommend, especially just for the sessions in the class. There's so much content out there that you can learn.
Wes Anderson and Taika Waititi. What? Two of my favorite directors. Anna DuVernay. Wow. David Tennant. They're going to have Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Doctor Who and Zach Braff. Tyler,
Two of
the
my
creator.
favorite times.
Wow.
Sorry. Two of my favorite times were seeing Questlove and Dave Grohl on the stage, and just being able to take photographs of them and listen to their stories and listen to them inspire all of those thousands of people that were there. It's just, I really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it, especially because it's free.
Do you think they would have this great list if it weren't virtual? Do they normally have this many stars? Wow.
I think so, because they had Tiffany Haddish was there one year. Burt Munroy.
I love Burt. But okay, get ready. Nick
M.
Offerman.
Night Shyamalan was there.
Oh, that's cool. Nick Offerman and Stanley Tucci will be there too. Yeah. So you can watch. I have to pay money for this though?
No, you don't.
No?
It's free.
What?
Just give yourself, if you don't have an Adobe ID, just sign up for a free Adobe ID and you're in.
Oh, I've been giving Adobe money for years.
Yeah.
They ought to let me in. October 20th through 22nd.
20th through 22nd.
350
I look
workshops,
forward
labs.
to it.
There's a lot of teaching about how to use Photoshop and Lightroom and stuff like that?
All of their products, even down to like Adobe Experience Design. That's where you prototyping apps or doing, even funky little presentations. They walk you through the apps to make it look good and be a lot more functional and just be super duper creative. Character animator, if you want to get into making cartoons and things like that. It's so many different tools.
I would like to see half these people. I would kill to just see talk. This is incredible.
I love it.
Oh, my God. This is really a great lineup. Look at that. All right.
And lastly, yesterday was the National Voter Registration Day, raising awareness to tell people to go vote. I want to piggyback off of that and say, you know what? Make sure you look at these little pamphlets that you get in the mail that talks about your voting bills and referendums, or these are propositions. Read those things. Those things matter. Read them up, see what it matters to you, and vote yay or nay, because that's the big thing. That's the stuff that's affecting you right there in your own backyard. So I highly recommend you don't throw this in the trash when it comes in the mail. Take the time and read it. Some of it you're not going to care about, but it can possibly affect your day-to-day a lot quicker than voting for the president.
Indeed.
Yes, sir.
Vote up the ticket, not down.
Do what Aunt says.
Yep. Start at the bottom and work your way up. That's the way to vote. Because everybody goes to vote for the president, but they leave out a lot of the other stuff, and it's all important. Cory Doctorow tweeted about a this is just like really wild. A small race, the race in Texas for railroad commissioner. And he said, you know what? You might think that this doesn't matter, but these are the people, the Railroad Commission is who approves. I don't know if I can find it. So you don't need to show I'll tell you if I get it. But maybe I can find it. The Texas Railroad Commission are the people who approve one particular thing that could make a big difference in climate change. A lot of oil wells in Texas, we've seen it, have flares as they burn off the natural gas, which is a production of pumping the oil. They could capture it and resell it, but it's not worth it, so they just burn it, and it's a huge source of air pollution. And it's permitted in Texas, and it's the Railroad Commission of Texas that determines if this is okay. They need one more vote to prevent flares. So I actually donated to the campaign. Yes, it's a huge amount. And I thank Cory Doctorow for he tweeted it. I should find it so we can put it in the show notes. But if you go to twitter.com/ is it Cory Doctorow? Is that his? I can't remember what his Twitter handle is. I'll look for it.
Shoot, I don't remember either.
I think
it may be just Doctorow. Yeah, it's just Doctorow.
It is Doctorow.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you scroll through, you might be able to find it. It's actually great. He's a great guy to follow because he tweets a lot of weird old stuff, like a 1969 Disneyland coloring book next to the Gorgon portrait for the Haunted Mansion. Anyway, and there's a Calvin and Hobbes.
And just flat out brilliant.
Yeah, I love Cory. We're going to get him back. He's going to be back on Twit in a few weeks. The two smartest people I know, with the exception of those in the room, of course, Amy Webb and Cory Doctorow are going to do our Halloween Twit on October 18th. And I think Carson has persuaded them to all be wearing costumes. So it'll be a costume.
As only he does.
Karsten. Yeah, October 18th. And I purchased a costume for the purpose. So I will also be in costume. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Excellent advice from Ant. Read your ballot. Be prepared. Mark it up. Bring it in or get an absentee ballot and vote by mail. But however you do it. November 3rd is going to be a big day. Mike Elgin, gastronomad.net. Yes. And
everybody's invited. We do amazing things, but check out the website. Leo, can I just quickly plug Chatterbox because I think it's
yes, Kevin's incredible project.
Yeah, my son Kevin Elgin is an entrepreneur who has what I think is a brilliant product. It's a like a smart speaker, like an Amazon Echo, and it's for 9 years old and up, so adults can do it as well. But you build it yourself, then you program it yourself using a very simple visual interface, learning concepts about APIs and so on.
No, this is not it. What is the website?
HelloChatterbox.com.
Thank you. I had the wrong site.
You build it yourself, you program it yourself, you use APIs. It can do everything that an Amazon Echo can do and a lot more. So it's more powerful than an Amazon Echo. It's super private. It doesn't listen until you push the button, which is by design. It's just a fantastic product that teaches you or kids about how smart speakers work, about how voice interfaces work. The future of the interface is going to be dominated by voice, I believe. And so if you really want to prepare kids for the future, you'll teach them how all that works and teach them that the voice AI systems are not intelligent. They're not people. It's all determined by people. And it's a great project during COVID-19. And he's got a discount for people who are, who have kids who are in lockdown, because it's just endless hours of creativity. You can build things, you can turn on the lights, you can figure out how to do all these different things. You can send text, you can hear music, you can do all the things that a smart speaker can do, but it doesn't do a single thing unless you teach it to do that thing. So it's just a lot of time exploring and learning how language works and all that kind of stuff. So it's a wonderful project, 9 years old and up, and I recommend everybody get one, whether you have a kid or not.
And there's Kevin working on his little Chatterbox with his Chatterbox friends.
Yep.
And he also a great little picture of him. All the founders' pictures are hysterical because they're kids, which is their kid pictures. So highly recommended. This is a great way to teach kids how to think, solve problems, and a little bit about the future of technology in there too. HelloChatterbox.com. So glad to help promote that. And right now, they have a 10% discount on the site. So definitely take advantage of it. Thank you, Mike. We'll see you soon, I hope. Perhaps in Provence. Who knows?
Nice.
Jeff Jarvis.
Good to see you, Mike.
It's always great to see you too, Mike and Jeff.
Good to see you too, Leo.
Jeff you see me every week. You couldn't care less. Jeff is the director of the Townite Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. His blog is at buzzmachine.com, also writes for Medium and other places at Jeff Jarvis. You keep saying you're working on a book. What is the ETA for that book, and what's it about?
God knows.
Yeah.
It's Gutenberg. The book is Gutenberg.
Is it going to be a big scholarly tome or a book for the rest of us?
No, I wouldn't. Scholarly, you can't attribute to me, but it'll have a lot of footnotes.
I am still blown away with the amount of research and reading you do every single day. It's kind of mind-boggling. It's very impressive. Very, very impressive. And if you're lucky enough to study under Jeff at CUNY's Graduate School of Entrepreneurial Journalism, you're learning. And, of course, the fabulous Ant Pruitt. Always a pleasure, Ant. Hands-on photography, hands-on wellness. As somebody in the chat room said, Ant's going to be running Twit someday, and I look forward to that day. Can you start tomorrow? Thank you, Ant. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Mike. Thank you all for joining us. We do This Week in Google of a Wednesday afternoon, about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 2100 UTC. Tune in the live video or audio stream at twit.tv/live. If you're doing that, chat in the chat room at irc.twit.tv. A lot of people listen after the fact. It's a podcast, so you can have it on demand anytime, anywhere you want. Just go to twit.tv/twig to download episodes. There's a YouTube channel, a Twig YouTube channel. And, of course, you can always get your favorite podcast application and subscribe. That'd be the best way to get it every single week, the minute it's available. We are putting together our best of. The holidays are coming soon. Very, very quickly as these Wednesdays string along one after the other. So go to twit.tv/bestof if you have a moment from the last year that you'd like to have in our best of, and submit it. And, of course, I should remind you, I forget to mention this, but there's a flash briefing, and we make one every week for this show. In fact, all the shows have flash briefings. If you have an Amazon Echo and you listen to the flash briefing, don't forget to add Twit as one of your sources, and you'll get a little bit of Twit every morning as you start your day. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll see you next week on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Jason Howell, host of All About Android, where each week I'm joined by my co-hosts Florence Ion and Ron Richards, and we talk about everything that has to do with Android. Is it news? Is it hardware? Is it apps? Well, you name it, we talk about it. We invite guests from the industry on the show. We even sometimes have people from the Android team themselves talking about what makes Android so great. And you can subscribe so you don't miss anything about the world of Android by going to twit.tv/AAA. We'll see you there.